speaking with my with my hands. I'm just looking at my PC and a wall, and I'm showing. I'm right now actually showing PC and a wall.
See, look at this. Look at this right here. It's like, Hickey, I can't see it. No, but like right there.
So I don't know.
Seems to be working.
Yesterday,
that's a good sign.
Has been quite hell.
It is
because spring started, and when I say spring, I mean summer. And when I mean summer, it just means the temperature went up for like 3 Celsius. That means it's 30 Celsius degrees right now, and I'm cooking.
Fantastic.
So that's good.
Yes, it is.
Well, cool.
JD thinks it's so good that Hickey is cooking. Now we know.
Gotta make food. Gotta make food. All right.
Not that kind of cooking.
Everything's connected, boys.
Really?
Yep.
Shit, I gotta open the stream then. I gotta look. I don't know why I do this, but I do it. Okay, I see. I fucking hate it. There we go.
I have Sugar Song and Beat a Stab on it. It's just a stock now. Thank you, Banji Dream.
Thank you, Banji Dream.
Huzzah.
Well, that's a very good ending.
Huzzah, huzzah.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Promote the YouTube channel.
No, don't do that. That's self-promotion. That's illegal.
Not illegal. It's perfectly fair.
It's not in line with our terms of service.
It's not. Master Ron 654 is now hosting us and following on Mixer.
I noticed.
How about that hype butt right there?
Woo.
We got that fall anime we're talking about. We got Nadia, Secret of Blue Water.
We got a lot of
that's going to be quite the conversation. But okay, let's
And I'm always right. That's so.
I should get that Wikipedia up because there's just so much I wanted to write down.
A very racist joke, but that's fine. I'm sweating so much right now.
I'm just gonna cliff note it.
He's very hot.
So much.
And he's also warm.
Yeah. All right.
I'm using.
Come on, boys. You ready? You ready for me to count down?
Yeah, I'm always ready.
Ooh.
I'm always ready.
Are you sure you're ready for me today?
Not for you, but I'm ready for this podcast.
Okay. All right. So counting down from 3, hit record on go. 3.
That's how we do this.
2, 1, go. Welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast Worldwide Weebs Edition Anime Episode 33. We're talking fall anime. We're talking Tori's Quest update. Might be the last update. Ooh, no. And then we finish off with a review of Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. And that will be quite the conversation. Oh, boy, howdy. Am I right, Hickey?
Yeah, it will. Some right hooks will fly out of here.
I hope you're up to date with your what's the author's name? Vern, author of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and those books. Hope you're up to date with those because there's going to be some comparisons there.
Yeah,
we're live all over the place on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, via Red Leaf Retrocast. Naturally, that's what the podcast is. We got Paramedu in the Twitch chat saying good afternoon to you, my good sir. We got some people hosting us on Mixer. But Tori, you're a host of this podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've been looking forward to this cast for a while. Look forward to having these guys watch Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water. It's going to be fun.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's definitely been an anime on my list for on that ever so growing watch list for quite some time. Tori, you've hyped up the show as something for some time as well.
It's something.
It's sure something.
It's something that everyone should watch at some point. I don't give a shit.
Well, we'll get there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Nah, you owe yourself. You need to
yourself to watch it. I suppose, in a way, I can agree with that.
Yeah, you really need to watch Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water to understand why they always cancel Hideki Anno.
This is why Gainax always goes through problems, and Anno himself. The summer season's come to an end, the fall season's upon us. Has anime been good in 2018, guys? Just as a general question?
It's been fine. It's been fine.
Yukuro Kenji now following the Red Leaf Retrocast on Mixer. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. 2018, I mean, I was looking at it when people were asking me, like, what's my top 5 favorite 2018 anime, and I looked and I was like, okay, let's just go to my mail and see what I watched from 2018 and see what I enjoyed. And way up there at the top was Devilman Crybaby. Mm-hmm. And then there was the rest.
Yeah, it's slim. It feels like it's slim pickings, especially compared to last year, where it seemed like it was a lot easier just to be like, I really enjoyed this show, but this show was really good, kind of deal. Hickey, what are your thoughts on this question I'm posing at you?
Well, I mean, I had my important test at the beginning of the year, so I'm not sure. I don't think I'm the best person to give an opinion.
Mr. Humble over here.
Everything's okay. Hickey 2018, and every year.
Look, it's not everything is okay. It's everything is fine.
Whatever.
Like, it makes a huge difference, but
no, man.
Certainly, it's quite a wiki. I guess this year we always say about the lack of diversity in anime, but this year we're seeing a lot of it. Like, we see a lot of isekais every season. We see a lot of cute girls doing cute things this season. It's almost becoming everything we see in a season.
Reverse harems.
Just like the next one we're talking about. It is quite a weak season as well, this fall 2018.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll get there. Yeah. Definitely save those thoughts for when we eventually get there. In real life conversation, Hickey, you and I were kind of beating around the bush here a little bit, kind of shooting the shit, and boy, it feels good to be bowling well again. I just have to throw that out there. Like, holy crap, I was making jokes, I was having a good time. You know when you love something, you're actually doing well at it? You're in a positive attitude? I have the power of positivity with me today, right now, and I'm going to need a lot of that positivity for what we're discussing. Tori, how's real life going for you?
Well, real life has been...
the economy? Are you pissed off at your prime minister? You know, those things getting to you?
They're not getting to me, but, like, there's a lot of shit going on right now, and I mean, I basically, well, I mean, I'm taking another, like, kind of on the side year of school, just simply because I need something. So I just need to get a job next to that as well, and that has been fucking difficult.
That is the way life works, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Life sucks when we grow up. That is...
Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, because you never know when you're gonna go.
Very poetic. Very poetic. Well, why don't we get started here with continuing a little intro. Tori, you have a quest update.
I sure have, and just like JD alluded to, this is my final quest update, because I have finished going from 1970 all the way to 2018.
I'm so proud of you.
Watching at least one show from every year, and I have my 3 final shows. And this is going to be real quick, and some people are probably not going to be very happy. Because the first show I have up was the first season of Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju.
Oh.
It aired in 2016 by Studio Dean and is directed by Shinichi Omata, who has worked on shows like Grand Crest War and Sankarea. So, let me just look up the synopsis here. The synopsis on Mal is Yotaro is a former Yakuza member, fresh out of prison, and fixated on just one thing. Rather than return to a life of crime, the young man aspires to take to the stage of Rakugo, a traditional Japanese form of comedic storytelling. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily comedic, but okay, sure. Inspired during his incarceration by the performance of distinguished practitioner Yakumo Yurakute, he sets his mind on meeting the man who changed his life. After hearing Yotaro's desperate appeal for his mentorship, Yakumo is left with no choice but to accept his very first apprentice. Mm-hmm. So, basically, this is a show all about minimalist Japanese theater, which I think is way better than saying comedic storytelling. Because it does not need to be comedic. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And ultimately, it tells the life of these people and kind of, it's a drama series, so it tells the life of these people and what's happened and kind of what they've gone through, and especially focuses on the Yakumo and his friend or quote unquote brother. They're not actually brothers, but because they're like the two final, or rather, he is the last master of Rakugo because the other one is dead.
Right,
and that's not spoilers. That's told you right away. And they were kind of like the final two masters of this craft. So yeah, it kind of tells the story of what, at least this first season does, tells the story of what they've been through, their youth, going through war, kind of seeing the pushback on Rakugo, having their livelihood taken away from them, mm-hmm. so on and so forth. And yeah, it's really not for me.
Oh, that's so disappointing to hear.
Yeah, I watched that first episode, like an hour and a half, something like that. I remember.
Was it that long? I believe it was 40 minutes, wasn't it?
No, it was over an hour.
Yeah, it's a movie.
And I watched that episode. I do. I remember sitting through that episode, and I was like, "This never ends." Holy shit! And I basically got all the way to episode 5, and I was just like, I was waiting for something, but it gave me nothing. It gave me so little. Yeah, sure, it focuses a lot on the characters, and there is a lot of story behind them. It's not like there's no story there. I'm not trying to pretend like there is nothing to witness here, but there was just absolutely nothing that interested me. And like I've said before, I'm not interested in Rakugo in general. I don't like minimalist theater. I don't like regular theater.
I suppose that would make sense that this wasn't for you.
Yeah, so that's I basically got to episode 5 and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to force myself. Maybe I'll get back to this, some way down the line, some years down the line. Maybe I'll get back to it and give it another try. But as of right now, this just isn't something that I'm interested in.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, because I really quite enjoyed the show. It's definitely one of the higher writing shows I've ever seen. Hickey, what is your opinion on Descending Stories?
I also liked it.
You also didn't like it?
No, I liked it.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't going to be a show I liked. The writing structure in Showa Genroku, it's more like a soap opera than an actual romance or a story. So it is very slow. A lot of character development. A few character interactions are useless.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
in a sense, because like we are used to the condensed character interactions in anime that only they only interact when the story needs them to interact. That doesn't happen
basically
in Showa Genroku, because like I said, it's more like a soap opera. So like I knew it is very slow. A lot of useless stuff is on screen. A lot of the times it doesn't add much to the story or the character development. So,
right then and there it doesn't.
I would understand. I understand why you got that feeling. Also, you just said you're not interested in that kind of art.
Yeah.
portraying in the anime.
Yes.
That plays a huge role in liking or not liking what you see. So I had a hunch.
Yep. No, like I did too, but it's kind of like it's one of those shows that's like everyone is hyping it up, and I'm not saying this is like a bad thing or that has ruined it for me, but it's like I felt like I needed to at least give it a shot. I'm kind of surprised though that the show was feels too slow for me, because I mean, those that know me, you'll know that my favorite anime of all time is RLR the animation, and that show isn't exactly fast. I don't have a problem with slow shows.
And then you have the second part of that. Every interaction in Nadia is very meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel of that, Warren.
Yeah.
And you sit there like, okay, they show slow when instead of showing me something that is actually meaningful, they're just showing me that interaction. I don't know why they're doing that.
Yep.
I know why, because like I said, it's more like a soap opera. You're watching this piece of work and life and yada yada, but for a regular or average anime fan, that kind of thing is way out of the normal for you to sit down and relax and just go through every one of those interactions. So yeah, I understand you. I understand.
Yep.
I'm not mad.
All right then. Let's move on to the next one. This one I actually finished, and I'm sure people are going to be mad at me again.
Okay. You're on a theme here.
Yep. So, for 2017, I watched a little show directed by Leiden Films, directed by Minato Kazuto, and this was his first show ever, and this show is called Rokudanshi Majutsu Koshi to Akashic Records.
Akashic Records, oh boy.
Yep, Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor.
The four school uniform.
You finished this show?
I finished this show.
It's a good show.
I agree with Hickey. I like that.
It's a very good show. When I also finished it, I watched the show, and when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is just going to be one of those shows again. But no, it actually surprised me. It was quite good. It was quite enjoyable.
I'd still argue that for the most part it is one of those shows, but it's a good one of those shows. And what I mean is like this is a light novel.
School uniforms.
Yeah, I mean they're basically stripper uniforms. So yeah, it's just a high fan service.
I'm looking at the little poster of the show right here. It shows a teacher surrounded by what you would say stripper uniforms. Yeah.
Yep. And it's basically just it's your typical light novel, or sounds like your typical light novel stuff, where it's about a guy. He gets forced into being a magic instructor. He's a NEET, but he gets forced into being a magic instructor even though he doesn't want to. And to everyone's surprise, he is terrible at magic.
No, you don't say.
Absolutely terrible. But obviously, he's only terrible at magic. He's actually really good at other things. He understands magic way better than most people do. It's just that he's not very good at them, where everyone can shorten their spells. He cannot. Stuff like that. But he knows exactly how to manipulate spells, which is something other people don't know. Like, depending on how you say something, the effect of the spell will be different. Like, for example, if I say it like this, then the spell will veer off to the right rather than go straight forward.
Aha.
This is stuff like nobody else knows, because why would they care? It's basic magic. No one needs to know this. So he's an odd one, and ultimately he's just kind of, I need to protect my students, and as well as being a sleazebag, but really he just wants to be a NEET. But he does find some value in working.
Is this the show with the episode, I think it was like midway, where it lost a lot of people?
I would expect this to lose a lot of people right out the gate.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking of a different show. Okay, well, it hardly matters then. Keep going, Tori. I'm sorry.
If I were to say something about the middle of the show, I would say it would be the opposite, actually, because in the middle of the show, they introduce you the really, really cool background story. Not only to the character, but like what is going on. Like, for example, why he's always wearing gloves. Because
why is he wearing gloves?
he used to be this mage killer, like this government mage killer. So he killed so many people that he got a trauma, and when he sees his bare hands, the only thing he can see is blood in the. So that's why he's always wearing gloves.
That actually sounds interesting.
Yeah,
and they introduced that like right in the middle of the show. So I think whoever passed the school and introduction to magic and why not and saw that probably went to the end.
But does it focus? Here's a question then for you guys: does it focus on the harem stuff more than it should?
No. Honestly, not. The harem stuff really. Apart from like the main or apart from the two main girls, like. You basically have one of the main girls. She does end up sort of like growing feelings for Glenn Sensei, as he's so appropriately named.
Of course, and
the other one, the other one does too, but in more like of a respect way. And she kind of just backs off. And realistically, apart from at the end when you have that like marriage thing going on, like there isn't really that much focus on like harem or even apart from like a couple of like, you know, obviously the outfits and then a couple of mandatory like, oh look, he walked in on them while they were changing. But that is still mostly in the early episodes. That also kind of just goes away after a while. It's not the point of the show. It's one of those things like I feel like they're using this to try to draw, because they know their audience, they're trying to draw that audience in. Mm-hmm. And then after they've drawn in the filthy weeps like myself, then then they go like, here's the actual story. It's like, all right, this is cool.
One last question then. Is this one of those magic shows that have all their spells in German?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it does not. It could have.
It seems every time there's a show that has any sort of magic in it, they always seem to start speaking German when they cast their spells. So this didn't fall into that trope. Okay.
No, I mean that's because German sounds more mystic. I'm not even joking. That's literally why they do that. They think German sounds way more mystic, and
the Japanese do like the German language. It's quite
Japanese
funny.
People really like stereotypes.
Yep,
that's quite true. Well, what is your last show? Just to move on here.
My last show is Hinamatsuri, that aired in 2018 by Studio Feel, and it was directed by.
I had opinions for not too long ago.
Yep, and it was directed by Kei Oikawa, who has directed Outbreak Company, Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, and Snafu 2. Hey. Yeah. And, well, Hinamatsuri is a comedy.
It sure kind of is.
It says so on the tin. It says comedy, supernatural, sci-fi, slice of life, seinen. And
it also has childcare, gangs, yashike, lifestyle changes, psychic power, superpowers, yakuza, based on a manga. I'm looking at the Anime Planet one.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Anime Planet has a lot of weird genres that aren't even genres, but yes. And the synopsis
is manga genre. Come on, it's the best one.
Yeah. The synopsis for this one is: one night, a strange object falls on the head of Nita, a member of the Yakuza.
Nita.
Inside the box, Nita.
It's Nita-san, man.
No, it's Nita. His two T's.
Oh.
Inside the box is a strange young girl named Hina. She has tremendous supernatural powers, and Nita finds himself reluctantly taking her in. Her powers can come in handy for his Yakuza business, but he also runs the risk of her using them on him. Not to mention, if she doesn't use her powers, she will eventually go berserk and destroy everything around her. Nita and Hina's strange life together is just beginning. And just as it was beginning, I dropped this show.
Really?
I dropped the show 2 episodes in.
Well, I guess I'm not totally shocked with that. Comedies are always very hit or miss with people.
Comedies are extremely subjective, and this shows, from my experience, lack of any real punchlines. No punchlines. And what I mean by that is not that they don't have punchlines. It's the punchline was very often something is said, and that thing is kind of funny, so somebody else will repeat it to kind of reinforce, like, hey, that's exactly what he said. Now laugh. It's like, I really, really don't like that type of comedy.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
If a joke doesn't land right away, saying it again is not going to make it fun. And then, they tried to make up for it with the silly faces and like the reactions and obviously the just weird stuff that happens whenever Hina's around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you obviously also have like the weird, like when he takes Hina and her friend, a girl from her school to a fucking hostess club.
Hell yeah.
Stuff like that. It's kind of like, these are just bad parenting decisions. And from what I understand, that's kind of one of the things that becomes the focus of the show going forward. It's like kind of, well, not like it is one of those questions, like being like having a not necessarily a child around, but like having essentially somebody that he now has to take care of, because it goes there even early on. It's kind of like, he's gonna have to send her to school and do stuff because he can't just have her at home. She'll just break things.
What did you think of the blonde girl character, Hina's friend from her world that came to get her? I forget her name at the top of my head right now. Ansu, yeah. What'd you think of her?
She showed up, and she was basically like, I'm going to find Hina, and I'm going to kill her. And then she found her, and they had this nice little competition of
right
stone, fucking rock, paper, scissors, look here, or whatever the fuck that thing is called, and basically you try to divert the other person's attention, and then you hit them. Obviously, these guys have superpowers, so they control gravity, and they just basically try to force each other to look the other way. So,
did that scene make you laugh at all?
No.
Okay, well then, yeah. I'm glad you didn't go through the rest of the show, because as I said in God, I forget what episode we covered that season on. It's in the description of one of them. But yeah, I had a lot of choice words about how the show ended up evolving from there. The comedy grabbed me personally, and then I still didn't quite like the rest of the show to the extent I thought I would. Hickey, you're a big fan of the manga, aren't you? If I'm not mistaken.
Manga is quite fun. Yes. The manga is quite fun. After the anime ends, there's a time skip. We go to high school.
You were mentioning that on the past podcast, how the anime probably missed a whole bunch doing that.
They cut a few jokes here and there, but I guess the sense of the show was then you have the time skip. They skipped the time skip and ended the show.
Nice.
Well, that's a shame, Tori. But no, it all makes sense. You're not just outright coming out and saying these shows are shit. It's not.
Oh, I can do that.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, you could do that. Anyone could do that. But if you say Rakugo, for example, is shit, I'd be like, no, not a shitty show. It just didn't work for you. But anyways, okay? So here's some questions here.
Yes.
Your quest was from 1970 to 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say, top of your head? Obviously, I'm putting you on the spot here. What are the three shows you took away the most from this quest? Good or bad? Like, what stands out in your head? Obviously, this is just what comes in your head first.
Okay. I think the things that I take away from the most are all from the 70s, which I think is hilarious.
No, that's actually...
No,
I'm very much the same way, actually.
I think just the 70s is what I take the most away from, for good and bad, because I also did the math and I posted it in Discord and everything, where I rounded out the averages of what the average scores I had throughout the decade, and by far the 70s was the lowest. But what I found really interesting was two shows, just to mention two shows that I took a lot away from, is Ashita no Joe,
right,
and Akagi no An.
Yep.
I could give more, but I took a lot away from those, and those are high up on some of my all-time favorite anime lists after watching them. I really love those shows. That said, the other one that is no wait, I think that was 80s actually. It's Orewa Teppei, so never mind. That was and that was just because we've been talking about comedy, subjective and whatnot. But
no, Teppei was 70s, wasn't it?
I'll look it up right now. I'm pretty sure it was. Sorry, Orewa Tepe? Yeah, it was 70s. Never mind, 77. That was 82 for some reason. But yeah, obviously comedy is subjective. One of the things was you go far enough back and you find some things that people used to find funny, especially because it's cartoon characters, and it kind of makes it weird, right? Because one of the things that Orowa Tepe is very glad is, or likes to use as at the butt of his joke all the time, is broken families, like just kind of child abuse, murder attempts.
Hilarious. Hickey, wouldn't you agree with that?
His dad fucking takes him out.
Say something like that.
No. I wasn't paying attention at all. I was like, do you think child abuse is funny? I was like, excuse me?
I mean...
don't take that out of context.
I mean, come on. The dad, like, Tepe's dad literally takes Tepe out of school, out of his family, runs away from his wife and everything. I never even got to really know why he did it, but he just runs away. He can't handle society, so he runs away out into like to live off the land or whatever.
Right.
And like he takes his son with him because he can't go alone. He's not man enough to do that. So he takes his son with him, takes him out of school, takes him out of society, and kind of just has him work for him to help him to try to find gold. At the same time, while literally he spends all day himself just like drinking, being drunk, beating his child. I'm like, and it's just like, it's the entire time. This is not played as like, oh, look how horrible this guy. This is played as a joke. I'm like, my God.
Different times. Yeah, that is definitely something I took away as well. But yeah, I know what you mean. When the shows were bad, Yep. But when they were good, they really stand out. For me, it was shows like Future Boy Conan, Yamato, and then just like the space adventures and how everything kind of comes together. Yeah, a lot of shows from back then had to be extended to, the more episodic focus.
Mm-hmm.
Take that with a grain of salt, I would say.
Yeah.
Then the 80s were more violent and...
Sure was, and I like that.
Space and... Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about like the evolution of seeing like style changes? What like genres were being focused on at the time? Did you get a sense of any of that?
I mean, yes, obviously you do, right? You have the kind of end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s through the 80s, even to a certain extent up in the 90s. Sci-fi and whatnot was obviously the domineering genre.
Right.
That wasn't exactly a shock. I knew this already going in. One of the things that I kind of regret, though, is starting in the 70s and not trying out stuff a little bit earlier, because when you start out in the 70s, I came in just at the end of the of when like limited animation was at its worst. And what I mean is like, the 60s was pioneered by Tezuka and his limited animation for Astro Boy, where it's like they don't move more than they have to. They only use keyframes. There is no in-betweening.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that in Speed Racer.
Yeah, right?
In our kind of like podcast episode.
Yeah. But watching it, starting in the 70s...
I'm going to interrupt you here for a second,
okay.
Tori. We did cover Speed Racer in the previous podcast episode. That is Red Leaf Retrocast, which you can find at Stitcher, Spotify. Hit us up on YouTube, Red Leaf Retrocast. Join our social media. Definitely join us in the conversation. Instagram or Twitter, Red Leaf Retrocast at BowlingJD. Continue, Tori. Little self-plug.
Yeah, no. That's fine. What I was just going to say is like, it's like starting in the 70s, you kind of come in this transition period where you meet people like, obviously, like Hayao Miyazaki comes in and starts being the people of Ghibli, Isao Takahata. And if you know, kind of the thing they did was they didn't like, or I'm not saying didn't like, but they weren't satisfied with the kind of the Tezuka ideals of limited animation being the only thing that could apply to TV animation.
Right.
So they kind of wanted to prove that wrong, and that's why you end up with stuff like Akagi no An, or where it's absolutely not limited animation.
Right. Heidi of the Alps stood out to me in that sense. I mean, the show was very much for like 3-year-olds, but like the animation wise was like, whoa, okay.
I know. That was always interesting. So. Again, I kind of wish I would have gone back a little bit earlier just to kind of properly get to experience that time where limited animation was the domineering idea. But
well, maybe an Astro Boy episode is down the line.
Maybe it is. I'm also planning a movie quest in the future. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to that. But
yes. Why don't you here? I'm not telling you to start it or stop it or what have you, but I definitely got to. I think it's my turn to take the quest. I got to continue that because I didn't do just one show. I did like maybe it could range from like 5 to 15 of a year. Yeah. That's why it's taking forever.
That's fine. I can wait forever. Like not forever, but I can wait. That's fine. Right now I'm kind of working. I'm watching some bad shows. I'm having a fight with Hickey where he's watching Rio Rainbow Gate, and I'm watching Avenger. See who has the worst show. And
oh boy.
And then I have
gluttons for punishment, masochists.
The first episode of Rio Rainbow Gate wasn't that bad.
No, but it keeps going.
I didn't understand why she wears such skimpy clothes.
Because
when she's using a costume with more fabric than her regular clothes, she's embarrassed. I don't understand that logic in anime.
It's her work uniform, man. She can't be embarrassed in her.
Oh, of course, yes, of course, the working uniform.
All right, boys. I'm gonna have to move us along here.
All right, then.
We're half an hour in, and
only half an hour.
Yeah, only half an hour. But we got our fall anime season outlook to go over, so I'm gonna play this amazing drop and move us right along. Go, 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 Astro Boy! Hickey, you are back into the anime watching seasonal world now that big chunk of your important school stuff's out of the way.
I'm actually a lawyer. Yeah, so I can relax. Not really, because I'm kind of unemployed. But
kinda,
yeah, aren't we all?
I'm a freelancer. I'm not unemployed. That's why I'm kind of unemployed.
No, I'm right there with you. So, fall season 2018 is upon us. The underwhelming summer season. Would you agree?
The summer season.
Yeah. Is over. I got a few shows to binge here pretty much, but I was busy binging Nadia, Secret of Blue Water for the past week and a half.
What a good time spent, right?
Oh, we'll get there. All right. So we've each picked 3 shows to highlight. Thank God it was only 3, I must say. Who's gonna go first?
Why don't we just follow the way you have it put down?
All right. Well, Hickey, what's your first show you'd like to highlight for this fall 2018 anime season?
Well, the first show I want to highlight, if people will listen to this, when we come to season outlooks, I usually highlight the more wacky or interesting anime that come out. And the first one you put in our agenda is Radiant, which is based on a French comic style manga, a manga style comic.
Mm-hmm.
It is basically what people are saying, because I've never heard about it. I've heard when they start talking about comics in France and animation in France, Radiant comes up as a name.
Right.
And it looks like it's a battle shonen. So you might be interested in that, JD.
I might have to check this out. I do like my shonen trash. I am not above admitting such atrocities. And based on a French comic book, you definitely have my attention for uniqueness, or at least in origin. That's for sure.
Yes, and it's done by Lurch.
Lurch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have they done? Let's see here.
Did they do the
Ass Class? They did Ass Class, Class of the Elite, the Danganronpa series, Kino's Journey.
Yeah. The new one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bad one. Got it.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. Chill out.
Yeah, bad. Come on. Basically, it will tell a story of Seth, which is a aspiring sorcerer, and he's, like all wizards, called an infected, which basically are some living beings who survived the contact of something called Nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, now that he survived that, he is immune to those creatures. Because of that, he wants to become a hunter and fight those creatures. Basically, it is the quest of him becoming this hunter. Very shonen-esque.
Damn right. I think I'll have to check this out. It wasn't on my radar when I did the initial run-through. I did put a post out on Twitter at BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast. If Radiant was on anyone's radar, and no one could give me a straight answer is if they expect this to be any good. So
yeah. Well, I do think it's interesting because Hunter, ex-Hunter,
right? Yeah, it's definitely given me that kind of vibe, is that Hunter vibe a bit, and the Monster Hunter vibe.
It looks like a more happy. What is the name? The one shonen everyone talks about. I forgot.
Happy Sugar Life.
No, not Happy Sugar Life. It's one about It's on. Fuck! I forgot the name. God fucking damn it! It's about a boy whose family got slaughtered by demons. But his sister survived, and she became a demon as well. But she obeys him. So he goes on to become a hunter of demons. I forgot the name. People say it's gonna have an anime. I forgot the name. I don't know that, but it sounds like a happy story, just like that one. That one is way more grim and dark and die a lot. But this one, at least from the cover art, looks happy-go-lucky. Almost. It also reminded me of Black Clover a little bit, but let's see.
I hope it's better than Black Clover.
If it isn't, that's a feat.
Okay. Why don't we move on to you, Tori?
All right then. So the first show that I want to talk about is a little show called Zombieland Saga. Zombie theme continues, or at least I think it is going to continue. This is a Mappa original, and well, all we know is that it starts on October 4th, 2018. It will be 12 episodes, and it's called Zombieland Saga, and it's a Mappa original. There is no synopsis.
I have a synopsis for you on Anime Planet if you want me to read it for you.
There is?
I want to say it is not related to the Zombieland movie. Okay?
It probably isn't.
I'm already a little hesitant of this show, Tori, because its picture that it's using for the show is that just bland.
Yes, it is.
Here's all your characters in a box picture.
And a dog.
Oh yeah, and there's a dog that looks like a zombie dog.
Yeah.
So the usual mornings, the usual music, the usual self. For 7 girls, a peaceful life was all of a sudden destroyed. All at the hands of zombies. Dead things that somehow remain moving. In case you didn't know what a zombie was. Now they step into a new world, whether they liked it or not, a zombie world. That represented both the best and the worst. The 7 girls had only one wish. We want to live. This is the miraculous saga that these girls bring about. So I guess they're just in a zombie world and they're going about their daily lives. What I take away.
That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. Sounds like a different show that I forget the name of right now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one that is also going to have a.
Yep, because like only.
I think in the last next season, not the season after the next. The only thing I can say is it will never be better than High School of the Dead.
No, it probably won't. But I'm still going to give it a shot. Like, I like Mappa. They very rarely do wrong by me, so I'll still give it a shot. I watched the PV, and because I looked it up on Mal, I looked at it, and it was just no synopsis. I looked it up on Google, there was no synopsis. I was like, okay, sure, let's watch the PV. Well, the PV says absolutely nothing, shows you nothing. It's just like, look forward to the show. And I'm like, all right, cool. Mappa's really being secret, everybody, about this.
I have noticed there's been quite a few shows I tried looking at the PV, and it was just literally the title, and it's coming out.
Yeah. No, they're showing a bunch of like live action clips of like schools and bathrooms, and I'm like, okay.
All right.
Interesting. Maybe they're just trolling. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be something completely different. But we'll wait to see. I'm going to give it a shot. Mappa, so like I said, very rarely does wrong by me. I mean, banana fish this season, but we can take that when we get to the review of this season. But most of the time, yeah, they're right.
Alrighty, so I'll go next. The show I'm most hyped for is, it's seemingly going to be, only this one, is called Kakakuri Circus. And...
Karakuri.
Kakuri. Well, no, however you pronounce it.
Karakuri.
Yeah. So I wasn't too... Oh, whatever. Okay, so...
Shame.
It's by Studio Voln, and...
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mappa spin-off studio.
Right.
No, so not Mappa spin-off, sorry. Madhouse.
It's the same studio that brought us the Ushio and Tora TV show. So that stood out to me, and I believe, if I have my facts straight, it's the same mangaka. Correct, Hickey? Like, do I have that right?
Oh, I actually don't know. You mentioned that. I was like, okay, if you say so. If so being the same mangaka is the thing that led you to choose the show to talk about, I'll believe you because I think you actually went out and searched for that. Okay. Now you ask for my validation? I don't know.
All right. Well, the art style is very much in that same realm. Like you said, Tori, Mappa usually doesn't do wrong too often. This is a spin-off of Mappa.
Madhouse.
Oh, Madhouse. Well, Madhouse is 50-50 with me these days. So here's the synopsis. Masaru Saiga is a 5th grade boy who aims to become a puppeteer. After Sadayoshi Saiga, the CEO of the giant home telephone maker, Saiga and Masaru's father, passes away, Masaru inherits 18 billion yen. Masaru is targeted for his wealth and is saved by 2 people. Narumi Kato is a man who has studied kung fu and has a weird illness called Zanafa syndrome. We don't know what that is, I suppose. The Shirogane is a silver-haired woman who controls the puppet Ararukan, Harlequin, that's in parentheses. Together, Masaru, Narumi, and Shirogane get thrown into various conspiracies by those who would try to steal the fortune. So it seems like it's a battle anime with, I guess, people controlling these crazy puppets.
Yeah.
It looks very unique, and if it's anything in the realm of the entertainment of what Ushio and Tora is, and I have no reason to doubt that it wouldn't be that, considering it's the same guy. It could be easily one of the best shows of the season. I'm very excited for it.
Well, I mean, the manga is very fun. It has a gritty and dirty aesthetic to it. I think I've read 50 chapters of that, but I stopped because of lack of free time when I was back in high school. So yeah, the manga, I remember the manga being very fun and have some interesting developments in the that you usually don't.
Alrighty.
All right.
Moving on.
Second one. The agenda is Gaikotsu Shotenin Honda-san. Done by Studio DUE. And it's based on a web manga. It tells a story of a skeleton named Honda who works in the
bookstore. Right.
Yes, that is the synopsis. If you have another synopsis in the Anime Planet, I'll be glad if you
no, it just says a skeleton named Honda works in a bookstore. Hilarity ensues.
Okay. Awesome.
That's it.
And like the characters look so wacky, and why not? I was like, okay, you know what? Why not?
It definitely looks out there. I don't know what to expect, so I'll look forward to hearing your impression thoughts over the shore. Over the shore.
You will hear it over the shore. No, last time I watched something called with Honda-san in the title was like Genki-san. Denki Guy no Honya-san, I think it was called. That was awful. So yeah.
The studio is DLE. I'm not familiar with them at all.
Me neither.
You talk about the Barakamon guy. But okay, it's fine.
It looks like they do a bunch of like Saturday morning cartoon type shows.
So I expect this to be another one then.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. But who knows? You know, it could be like how cool. I came out of watching Gegege no Kitaro. Like, it was good for what it was. Just I'm at the point in my age where I'm like, I don't really need that in my life right now.
I don't really need that in my life right now. That's what I feel about most things.
All right, Tori.
Well, you know what I do need in my life? Okay. I need me some Sora to Umi no Aida in my life.
Your second pick.
Yep.
Okay.
And basically, it's a show produced by TMS Entertainment, who has given us lots of great shows up over the years. And basically, the synopsis is, set in Onomichi City, 6 girls dream of becoming space fishermen. That's right. Space fishermen. Yes. They aim to capture god-eating monsters that leave fish vulnerable, as well as enemies which they encounter. Basically, fish in the seas of Earth has all disappeared. So they have made fish tanks in space, and these girls are training to become space fishermen to go out in space and catch fish and defeat monsters and save fish everywhere. The show sounds so dumb, so stupid, and the space suits look so hot. I'm watching that show.
Yes.
It looks like space stripper outfits.
I know.
What is with you lately in watching the shows where the women are dressed up like strippers?
I know what I like, okay? Don't judge me.
Hey, no king shame. We don't king shame.
Exactly. But like,
show,
I saw
the idea of the show is so dumb. Like, well, the fish are disappearing on Earth. Maybe we do fish tank. Space.
Yep. You know what? I blame Macross for this.
All right.
This is all.
Who's the director of the show? Let me look this shit up.
The director is Atsushi Nigorikawa.
What has he done before? Love Tyrant.
He has done. Yep, good shows. I remember looking at this before. Nothing of interest. Very, very good sign. He did Anitore EX. That's the training one, isn't it? It sure is.
And there's a new season coming out, actually, of Anitore EX.
So basically, as you can see, this guy is very qualified. It's probably going to be anime of the season.
Impressions, boy, oh boy. Awesome. We'll be looking forward to that.
Awesome. This show is just pure awesome.
Yep, sure is.
All right, moving on. God. Okay, so my second show is Golden Kamuy Season 2. Continuation from, obviously, Season 1. As for those that aren't familiar, where is it? There it is. Second season. Okay, so Golden Kamuy, the first season focused on a war vet, gets a hint of looking for gold, comes across a native girl of the land, and she can read the maps and whatnot to get to this gold. There's a bunch of people, there's an army and an organization that are also after it, and it's a lot of killing, very grotesque murders going on of trying to get to it. If you go, God, it can't be more than 4 or 5 episodes back where I reviewed the first season of Golden Kamuy, and I was Hickey. Did you watch Golden Kamuy? I can't remember. I know you've read the manga, right?
I still have to watch to watch the first season. I've heard a lot of things about the manga. Usually they're good things, but I remember your review. You're very mixed on the first.
Yeah, like when it comes down to the actual gold searching and the action scenes, I was very high on it. I was very positive. What I wasn't high on was how often the show kept repeating. Just to reiterate the cliff notes of the review, it repeats a lot of the culture of the Ainu girl, Asirpa, and her and her tribal culture and how they go out and hunt for food, and it seemed to concentrate too much on that and repeat elements.
I remember commenting as well that whenever I would go on Twitter and see what people were talking about the show, it wouldn't have anything to do with the story. It would basically be food, funny faces, and some weird pervert guy.
Yeah, there was a good, like 2 episodes where it focused on this one ex-prisoner who has the map on his body, or part of the map on his body via tattoos. Yeah, he was strange. I mean, I was laughing at it. He definitely had the other thing, you know, in hindsight, is they seem to come across these dudes with a tattoo too easily. But hey, I mean, that's kind of suspension of disbelief. If it was half the time they're not finding anything and there's no progression in the plot, then...
I mean, like, the way they find them... I mean, okay, the way they find them is kind of weird, right? They basically go through word of mouth. Have you seen blah, 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 blah. And then... But, like, if you kind of follow where they say they go, like, their quote-unquote journey, you don't really get to see their journey. But they're traveling some fierce distances. They're basically covering all of Japan in order to track these people down. It's just kind of one episode they're somewhere in the east, and then by the next one they travel way further west. It's like, they are covering big distances. It's not like they're all happening to find them in like one city, but they're spread out. But you know, you don't really see that. They're just kind of there. Every new episode, there's a new prisoner somewhere else in Japan that they're tracking down.
Records of the Lotus. They just
basically.
Yeah, you're missing out on what could be there to make it better. But hey, regardless of it, the show did enough in the first season to warrant me wanting to watch a second season and continue what's going to happen to this ragtag trio of searching for the gold. And you know, I am interested in the plot, so that's something. And the comedy, it made me laugh despite my.
If they start the second season off, by immediately going, let's go hunt for some food and eat, I'm dropping the show.
Yeah, I'll probably just like put on some YouTube show and be like, all right, I'll let that go in the background for a little while because I've already seen it like 300 times in the show.
Yep, they sure eat a lot of food.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna watch it regardless. If it continues doing that, you can definitely warrant it'll get a lower score than what I gave the first season. So, Hickey, third show. What do you got for me?
All right, third show. It's called Goblin Slayer. It's by Studio White Fox, and it's based on a light novel.
Oh boy.
Oh
boy.
But don't worry, because this is one of the good light novels.
It's light novel fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an action fantasy. The story starts with this priestess that is going on her first adventure with her party. And what they decide to do is kill a wake monster, the goblin. What happens is, goblins are very strong if you're not used to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've read the manga, and basically the first 10 pages are just like, they go on an adventure, they find the goblins, they're actually slaughtered, and the girls are raped.
Nice.
Yeah, I noticed one of the tags here is mature themes.
Right.
Unfortunately, the studio, I think they already come on and said that they are cutting out every rape, like the rape. And believe me, there is a lot of rape. Just a lot of it. But right when the priestess is about to get raped, this guy appears with wearing a helmet and a armor, a warrior armor, and just kill all the goblins. And he's called the Goblin Slayer because the only thing he does is go out and kill goblins. He's one of the best and most skillful warriors in that place, but the only thing he does is kill goblins. Goblins are not involved, he doesn't care. And, you know, after that, they explain why. They show why he hates goblins. and why he basically wishes the genocide of all goblins. It is a very interesting story.
The goblins raped his mother. Got it.
No, it raped his sister, I think, and killed everyone in his village. And like he saw the goblin raping and like slaughtering his family. It is very gruesome. It is quite gruesome. Very interesting show, and I cannot wait. Cannot wait. I've been waiting for the show for so long. Unfortunately, I don't know when they said they're gonna cut off all the rape. I don't know if they're talking about censoring it or
I was about to ask you, Hickey, are you a little afraid that the show's going to be too censored and take away from what the show could be?
I don't think when it comes to the violence of the show, I don't think it will. My biggest problem is rape. It is.
I think for visual purposes,
it doesn't show you, but like it is when it shows it shows the aftermath, it's very depressing, sensible, as full of that. Yeah, but like they sometimes they don't show the act, but you know what is happening. They make sure to show you enough so we get the feeling of the desperation and everything that is going on with the rape scene in the manga. I think in the light novel the description must be amazing as well. So let's just see what's going on.
For shows like this, I totally understand why they should cut out rape scenes, but for all intents and purposes of like character motivation and story progression, how that it seems to me, at least from what you're saying, Hickey, that it plays an important role in getting character motivation. It seems like it's a central theme of it to an extent.
Yeah, it kind of makes you understand why the guy hates goblins so much. It makes an excellent job to portraying goblins as the
So let me paint a picture here. I think what the show could benefit is you don't need to show the actual rape happening. What you could
it's a porn.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say it does a flashback to his mom was horribly raped and killed, and he saw it. They could show shadows in the background of that about to happen, and then it cuts in on the kid's face and he's horrified. Give it a good sense of painting a picture of you know what happened. It didn't show you what happened, but it did just enough where you go, that bitch was raped.
Pull out the CG dragon.
God fucking damn it, Tony. I lost my thinking. Sorry.
Good.
It is like seeing the sex and rape scenes in Berserk, but not as well drawn and quote unquote poetic like Berserk can do. It has the opposite effect of showing the goblins in Gringar, because in Gringar they humanize the goblin. In this one, they make everything they can to show you why goblins must die. So they go heavy. There's nothing human on them. You should not have pity on them. You should wish them die and be slaughtered. And because of how many times they show you that, the Goblin Slayer, the main guy, he looks normal to you, and he's screwed as fuck as well.
Alrighty. On to you, Tori, with your third and last show.
Yeah, I don't think mine's gonna be anything about rape, but I guess there's always a possibility. This is also a light novel after all.
This is a light novel after all?
This is
okay.
This is a show produced by Studio Cloverworks, and the title is something that I really like to pronounce. Seishun Butayaro wa Banigar Senpai no Yume wo Minai is the title.
The word I took away from that was Bunny Girl.
The literal translation of that is amazing.
You want to say the translation?
You piece, like, it is, this shitty youth will never make Bunny Girl Senpai dream come true. It's like, the fuck is going on with this?
I know. I absolutely love the title. The show's probably going to be terrible, but the title's good.
The title's good. That's what gravitated me towards the show.
Yeah, it actually is.
With the Bunny Girl Senpai.
Well, that's you. The synopsis is: puberty syndrome, a rumored mysterious syndrome that only affects those in their puberty.
Yeah, no
For example, a bunny girl suddenly appeared in front of Sakuta Asasagawa. The bunny girl's real identity is Mai Sakurajima, a teenage celebrity who is currently an inactive high school senior.
What?
Wait. An inactive high school senior. She is a fucking actress, okay? She's an inactive actress and a high school senior. For some reason, her charming figure does not reflect in the eyes of others.
Huh?
This synopsis is terrible. Other people cannot see her bunny girl form. They see her as a normal girl. In the course of revealing the mystery behind this phenomenon, Sakuta begins to explore his feelings towards Mai. Set in a city where the skies and seas change. What's that has to do with anything? Sakuta unfolds the meaning behind his bizarre encounters on women with the said syndrome. This synopsis, holy fuck. All right,
you read
basically,
that from My Anime List.
My Anime List.
God
basically,
damn, that was awful.
This guy has puberty syndrome. He sees this girl, this celebrity, this actress who was a high school senior, but nobody else sees her bunny girl form. Only he can, for some reason. And
he's
tries to find
puberty
out.
And he's picturing women in hot outfits. Gee.
Yep. And he tries to figure out why this is the case.
God.
And then in his chase, exploring why his feelings for this girl, he encounters other women who also has puberty syndrome. Because this is important.
This sounds dumb.
No, really.
No. This is the pinnacle of delusion. Okay? He was there, he was in class, he saw this really beautiful woman, he popped a boner, and he started being delusional about it. And now he's like, why does my dick roll when I see that girl?
You're not wrong, Hickey.
They cannot say that, so they did the puberty syndrome and the bunny girl.
I see. So this is artistic censorship. Got it.
Oh, God.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Tori. That is exactly why.
So there is rape. Got it.
Tori, I gotta ask, like, why... do you have a thing going on in your life right now?
I do have a lot of things going on.
Yourself?
Every once in a while I am, yeah. Okay. Like I said, I like the title. I don't know.
The title is amazing.
It seems like if you want to watch a show with, well, girls in hot outfits, I suppose this might be a show for you to check out.
I'm sure it's going to be disappointing. I'm sure she's not going to be wearing hot outfits. She's just going to be like, hey, look, I'm the tsundere.
Just go, hi, I'm the tsundere.
Oh, cool, bye, dropped.
Someone's phone's ringing.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while Tori will be right back. Hickey, I'm going to tell you about my third show. And
it's a show I want to watch because I've read the manga of this one.
Cool.
Yes.
It has finally come. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind. And it's more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What more can you say? I think this is the one featuring the JoJo, the flamboyant.
Well, I wish you have to be more specific.
Giovanni.
Right. Yeah. Hickey, you're more familiar with this. I'm having trouble pulling up the synopsis. What's JoJo Part 5 about?
JoJo's Part 5 is called Dento Audio, and the original, it is the story about Giovanni Giorno, and he wants to be part of the mafia to uncover some kind of stuff. And right at the beginning, you discover he's the son of Dio, one of the
spoiler
villains. It's not a spoiler. It's part 5.
That doesn't matter. Spoiler.
And basically, it is more JoJo. It has the same formula of part 2, I believe, with young Joseph, where he has his group of friends, and they are part of this mafia, and they want to take off the boss of the mafia. And basically and they go in adventures throughout Italy and a few parts of Europe. A lot of cool stands, like Purple Haze, one of the best ones. Have Green Day, really cool. There's a lot of cool stands, part 5, and really cool battles as well.
So yeah, I was on board with cool stands when you said Purple Haze, but then you brought out Green Day. It's like, what the fuck, man?
I'll have to catch up on my. I'll have to catch up on some Diamond is Unbreakable, just so I'm caught up. But I'll be definitely watching some Golden Wind. That is
definitely something I'm doing right now, watching part 4. Diamond is Unbreakable.
I found a synopsis of Golden Wind here. Jotaro asks Koichi to travel to Naples to investigate a person known as Haruno Shiobana, whose real name is later revealed as Giorno Giovanna. Or Giovanna, this is Italian.
Giorno Giovanna.
Yeah, cool. The story. Can you tell I don't speak Italian? All right. The story follows Giorno in his goal to rise to the top of the Passion Mafia group and turn it into a band of honorable thieves. So maybe some Lupin-esque type stuff here.
Honorable thieves? This is Sly 3, Honor Amongst Thieves.
It's JoJo mixed with Sly Cooper, right? Alrighty, so just to reiterate, our 9 picks to look out for is Hickey chose Radiant, Gaikotsu Shotenin, Honda-san, and Goblin Slayer. Tori, you chose Zombieland Saga, Sora to Umi no Ida, and Seishun Buta Yaro Bunny Girl, whatever, blah blah.
The best choice.
And I chose Katakuri Circus, Golden Kamuy Season 2, JoJo's Part 5. And then I got the My Anime list, what people are most looking forward to this season. So
Part 5. Probably it's not the top one, I know. It's up there, but it's not the top one.
Let's go over the top 9 here.
Let me guess. Toaru Majutsu no Index 3, Fairy Tail 2018.
Those are up there.
Yeah. So
Sword Art Online is number 1.
Number 1 is Sword Art Online.
Yes!
Alicization.
Yep, Alicization.
Alicization, whatever the hell that is. Where am I before? I
don't know.
It's more Sword Art Online. I'm not touching Sword Art Online anymore.
It's gonna be 4 cores, JD. You need.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. And obviously, I don't think. Tori, Hickey, are you guys gonna check out this SAO or nah? Are you guys?
Yes, I am.
You are.
Nope, I'm watching it.
I'm too deep in the shit to just bail out now.
Yep, basically same.
I think Alicization is the last story of Sword Art Online, if I'm mistaken.
Okay. Fairy Tail 2018, last one. I'll be picking away at it.
I'll be watching it. Need to finish that.
Second season.
Oh,
nope.
Nope. Didn't watch
Goblin
the
Slayer's number 4. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Index 3. Not touching that.
I'm watching that, dude.
No,
Index is fun. Index is so fun.
All right, FLCL Alternatives coming out, so I'll definitely be continuing some Fooly Cooly for sure.
I'm glad I stayed away from that. Holy shit!
It's it's got the themes we're talking about. I figure when we do our season review, talk about Progressive. I'll be on my list.
I've heard very much negative.
Bunny Girl is number 7. There you go, Tori.
How is it above part 5? Where are you checking this?
Because my anime list, man.
Because it is the title is amazing. So like everyone is just like you. Everyone is going because of the title. No one gives a shit about anime anymore. They just go by the title because nowadays the title is so big, especially if they are anime based on light novel, that the title tells you the story that is going on. So basically, people saw the title and you're like, you know what? I should check that.
That's fine, but part 5 though.
I don't know whether they mislabeled it into summer or spring, because I think it had like episode 1 early release or something, but it's not showing up in fall 2018 on my anime list.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Irozoku Sekai no Ashita Kara.
PA Works drama show about Mage Girl. Yes, I know what that is.
Well, that figures
that,
that answers that. And then here's one, Tensei Shitara Slime Dataken. Oh, okay.
I was reincarnated as a slime.
Yeah, reincarnated as a slime. It's that one. Yeah, it's like Dragon Quest, but weird. That's what I take away from it. So, who knows if any of these are going to be fantastic or good. A lot of ending type shows or sequels. No surprise, Tokyo Ghoul is at the top of the list. People love their edgy teenage Kaneki. So,
yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming.
A little bit.
I think so as well.
Kind of a weak season, but there's shows which you'll look up. Not only the ones we talked about.
Hickey.
You have the Irozoku, which is PA Works and drama. You have Senon Kagura. Gives more Senon Kagura, Fairy Tail, Index.
Right.
You also have some Chinese, but like we're not talking about that. But here comes the shameless plug.
Okay.
Right, Tori?
Huh? Oh!
Yes, the shameless plug.
I'm like, what? Me? Yes. No, I'm at this current moment, I'm also working on like a fall 2018 anime season preview video. I'll go up on my YouTube channel. It's just kind of a in-between project to I may have too much time go by without me uploading a video, and I'm just going to take a look at the shows that I'm basically going to look at every show that I'll be watching and kind of quickly say what it is and who's making it and a little bit of my thoughts on it, and that's about it.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, that's our fall 2018 anime season outlook. I think it's time we move on to talk about some Nadia Secret of Blue Water. What do you say, guys?
Yes.
Yes, alrighty.
Now, it's time we start dealing with the business at hand.
Alrighty. Nadia's Secret of Blue Water is the anime for review today. And this was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of Tori's recommended shows. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Okay. So, just to run down the what the show is and the synopsis, it spans 39 episodes, came out in 1990 by Studio Gainax, directed by Hideaki Anno, the Evangelion guy. And
you might know him from such things such as Gunbuster.
Right. So just to catch people up, we have covered a few Gainax shows on this podcast, namely
like Evangelion. And Gunbuster.
Namely Evangelion and Gunbuster, both auto shows. So this is the third one we're actually covering from.
Based on our circumstances.
Circumstances, so it's actually the fourth now.
Although he was kicked off that project, but yes.
Right. So
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
The mangaka, but yes.
Alrighty.
Sure.
So I got the summary here from Anime Planet. 14-year-old Jean was just an ordinary would-be inventor until the mysterious Nadia crashed into his life. With no family, a pet lion, and a jewel known as the Blue Water, Nadia is constantly on the run from those who want to steal her most valuable gem. Now, with a trio of thieves and the nefarious organization known as Gargoyle on their trail, Jean and Nadia must struggle to learn the secret of Blue Water and protect its powers from those who would use them to destroy the world. Not a bad synopsis for the show. Kind of leaves out a whole bunch, but we'll definitely be diving into that.
It's a synopsis. You're only supposed to get a feel for what it is, not everything.
Alrighty. So, interesting enough, I took this from Anime Age. The series won a number of awards in the Anime Age Anime Grand Prix of 1991, including Best Work. So at the time, it was noted as one of the best shows. The opening theme, Blue Water, was voted as Best Song, while Jean, Sanson, and Nemo were respectively voted as 4th, 5th, and 13th Best Male Characters.
Well, that's kind of a shitty list, but alright.
6 episodes specifically were voted into the top 20 best episodes ever.
Please be that one episode.
Including, more notably, episode 22 was voted best episode overall. Nadia herself was voted as best female character. And the first character to overtake Naushka as the favorite female character in Anime Age's readers' polls. Which says
Nadia was really popular.
Nadia was extremely popular. The show was apparently extremely popular to an extent. All the characters were popular. But I noticed one thing when I was searching for the 6 episodes. None of them take place after episode 22.
That is fine.
That is fine.
But
there's a good reason for that.
No, I disagree.
Production went through lots of hell.
Welcome to the 90s. Welcome to Gainax.
Welcome to Gainax. Welcome to the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Let's see. Gainax lost $80 million on the project and had no rights to itself upon completion of the series. However, they were allowed to produce rights to the video game series, which would actually set record earnings and get them out of, apparently, bankruptcy, essentially. So, and they end up using the money to make a film that also didn't make any money.
Welcome to Gainax.
It just went through this. We're losing money. We're overproducing it. Let's see. Gainax staff demanded lots of staff would be removed from the project, or else everyone would withdraw, and it just goes on and on. There's just so much to talk about over the just shit the show went through during its production.
I mean, listen, we can make a whole podcast talking about what the fuck was going on at Gainax from their moment they were founded to the moment they. Well, I mean, I say close their doors. They're still around. They still exist to this day, but it's just kind of a shell of what it once used to be.
Yeah, and the practices, from what I could find research-wise, the practices that the studio would do, and Anno being the head director of shows, yes, animation was generally good. The stories were unique and very well received, but when it came to actual production and money spending-wise, they're bad at it.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Gainax was founded by a couple of friends with no business, no business sense, no business ideas. They're basically just a bunch of guys like, we want to make anime. We really like that, but we hate anime in general. We hate anime, but we really want to make animation.
And the show is very much apparent to be a part of that problem. So where shall we begin talking about the show itself? Because we can, like you said, Tori, we could be on the production side and Gainax itself forever.
Yep.
Let's focus on Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. Tori, since you were the first one to watch this, why don't you enlighten us all on, maybe the pros and cons of the show in general?
The pros and cons. All right. There's like, well, I don't even know how to word this. Fucking putting me on the spot every time. Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water. Well, yeah. Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water is a basically, like you said, it follows John and Nadia as they're traveling around, being chased, really. It leads them basically all over the world. Nadia is part of a circus, or was part of a circus. She has escaped the circus. She is running away from thieves, people trying to take her Blue Water Jewel, and they get involved in a whole bunch of stuff. What was I going to say? I was going to say they're trying to figure out where Nadia's from. The idea is because Nadia doesn't know where she's from, she doesn't know her past. So the idea that John has, because he's a genius, he's like, well, you're black. You must be from Africa. So, really, Nadia sticks around John, or John falls in, and Nadia sticks around John because he's an inventor and he's trying to make planes, specifically, and she's hoping that he can take, or he promises that he will take her to to Africa someday. So they get involved with a whole bunch of stuff. They get involved with Captain Nemo and the whole... what was the name of that submarine again?
Nautilus.
Nautilus, that's the name. I knew I was forgetting something. Nautilus, and the crew there. Let's just see here.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's start from the beginning then. So Jean's an inventor. It's him and his uncle are in Paris to what they've done is they've made a plane. This takes place in the late 1800s. 1875, I believe. Anyway,
1889.
1889. Okay, 1889, and no one's been able to create a successful plane. You know, so they've entered this contest, and they're very much confident. It's very funny vignettes
John and his uncle.
Yeah, showing a lot of the people, like even the favorite of the competition, everyone just seems to have all these like wacky inventions of what they think a plane could be. And like one has a car and it just has wings and it goes off the ramp straight into the water.
One guy literally just has a pair of wings, so he throws himself off there.
Yeah, very funny comedy. And they have this sort of conversation about loosely of looking for, you know, love in your life and and Jean just kind of goes, I'm an inventor, that's all I care about right now.
Jean does not believe in love at first sight. If I'm not mistaken, that was exactly what he said.
No, that was the exact line he says, and then immediately Nadia walks by, who looks like this circus performer. She has a very much that outfit on, and just walks by him, and he immediately is love at first sight. Says he doesn't want. He's not interested. Excuse me, Hickey.
She's wearing a dress. She's wearing a 1800 looking dress. She's not using the circus thing. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
check the facts.
Yeah, you're right, Hickey. I stand corrected. And he just immediately chases after her. She goes to, I believe, the top of the Eiffel Tower, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes.
and during this time, it cuts to this trio of thieves, Grandis, Hansen, and Stanson. Fantastic names, by the way. Or Sanson, not Stanson. Hansen and Sanson.
Sanson.
They say Sanson in the show.
I don't care. You watched the dub. You're wrong.
I did watch the dub. Full disclaimer. And they want this jewel Nadia has around her neck called the Blue Water. For all intents and purposes, all we know right at this point is it's a jewel. And Nadia is part of a traveling circus, and they just happen to be in town. Nadia is borderline kidnapped, but Jean, you know, they have this Lupin-esque chase scene, which is quite enjoyable to watch. Nadia escapes. He's like, okay, you know, he's infatuated with her. She's kind of brushing him off. Very much a theme of the show. From that point on, Nadia goes back to the circus. And the thieves follow her, and they basically pay the ringmaster off to just essentially, I guess,
ignore
her.
Yeah.
And Jean is looking for her because she kind of disappeared, and she starts screaming because she's going to be taken away. Another Lupin-esque scene with Jean, and he pulls up in a vehicle that I can only explain. Have you guys seen South Park, where Mr. Garrison makes the wheel? Like,
really? You went to South Park? Of all the things, you went to that scene?
Well, it looked exactly like that vehicle that he invented.
That actually exists. That vehicle with one wheel, that actually is real.
There's a lot of weird fucking machines.
They made a joke in South Park, and you went straight to that fucking... Yeah, no, it moves by sitting on this dick and sucking this other dick.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it functioned the same. I said like physically it looked the same.
That probably functions the same.
Oh yeah, that's how it works. So they have another Lupin-esque chase scene, and they do escape, and I absolutely loved whenever there was a chase scene of any type of the show. It was a lot of fun and very well animated. Did you guys feel the same way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, the animation is very good. Like, I don't have anything to complain about the animation at all.
Well, there were times. We'll definitely get there. I did notice
overtime, obviously towards the end.
Oh god, yeah.
I mean, when it starts to get bad, the animation starts to fumble a little bit. I was more concerned to other things, which we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, I was definitely more concerned with a lot of other aspects of the show rather than the animation. Whenever it came to moving animations in the show, it was always very solid. But whenever we got moments of like the characters just standing around or other things were moving around them, I saw a lot of instances where everything was stuttering.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, that very much.
That is
became a major issue later in the show.
It does, but again, that's kind of like the that is the problem. All of these things, basically, like we often talk about cost-cutting measures and whatnot. The general background animation was oftentimes the first thing to go, like because that's like we don't have time for this,
right?
So just kind of make something that moves, and then. We'll deal with that. We'll polish it if we have time.
Yeah. So, just moving on with the plot here, so we can get going. So Jean ends up taking Nadia back to his little farm location. I believe it was in Marseille.
Yes.
Which is they were just in Paris and they go all the way to Marseille, which is on the other side of the country. So I was kind of questioning that in my head, geographically.
No, man. Nah, it's fine.
But regardless, they're all the way back there now, and Jean asks his aunt if she could live with them. She's like, no, she's basically black. She's not allowed in here. I'm like, whoa, okay, getting a little racist over here. It does match the time. That's for sure. Very much so.
Yeah. One of the things that match the time.
Yeah. So I feel like the show did a good job right off the bat of establishing the characters, who they are, motivations. Grandis and her two minions were very much reminded me of kind of Team Rocket-esque and Future Boy Conan of chasing after the girl. And yeah, the show does take a lot away from Future Boy Conan in that aspect of the.
That was exactly what I was curious about it to ask. Do you now understand why I said that there were times when we were talking about Future Boy Conan where I just kind of had a quick like think back, and I was just like, yeah, that happened. It's like, wait, no, that's Nadia. They happened like this in Future Boy Conan. It's not the same, but it's similar enough that you can be like, oh.
Yeah, it is similar. I remember when I was watching Nadia and the Dreadnought captain comes out for the first time. And when we were reviewing Future Boy Conan, you said he reminded you, the captain in Future Boy Conan reminded you of the captain in Nadia. But the first time he comes by, he appears, I was like, he doesn't sound the same, he doesn't have the same personality, and why not? But
I know.
He decided to shoot the tank, the Gratan, and he started laughing and say, take it. I was like, okay, now I see what.
Yeah, that's why that was why I'm capable of distinguishing between the two. I knew when I was remembering wrong, because it's not the same, but it's similar enough that when I'm just like, yeah, sure, I remember that. I'm thinking of this.
Enough to confuse between the two, for sure. Jean is trying to impress Nadia all the time, wants to take care of her, love at first sight. Very, very much so. And he promises he's going to take her to her homeland to further impress her. That's what I took away from it. Grandis and crew show up again to try and take the Blue Water. He's showing off all the inventions. He gets a plane to work. But the theme, surprisingly enough, with Jean is he's a genius. He can make things work for a moment. They will always eventually break down in some way because something usually has to do with the engine and output. It all made sense to me.
He has awesome ideas, but he doesn't have the technology to actually do them correctly.
Right. But he does get the plane to work temporarily, and they do get away from Grandis and crew in their wacky invention. It was like a ball with tank wheels, and it had extendable arms.
See, now, because they have a proper engineer with them.
He is a legit engineer, that's for sure. He knows the boundaries of what he can invent for the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I liked in the just to kind of skip a little bit ahead. I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the later parts between him and John, when they kind of start working together on a lot of stuff, because like he definitely does manage to put on that at least I thought he managed to do that kind of mentor thing kind of well, even though from the beginning it doesn't seem like he is that type of person.
Right. So Jean and Nadia escape. The plane starts to break down because the engine wasn't built to support two people in the plane. I was like, okay, I guess I can kind of get behind that. They land in the water, and a ship comes by, and the kind of background of that is Jean's father was a ship captain, and there's sea monsters like taking ships down, and so the American government. I believe it was the American government.
That was the Americans, yes.
Yeah, got a bunch of basically battleships together to take down these sea monsters. We come to find out that they're not sea monsters. They're working submarines that are just taking people out because submarines didn't exist yet. So that's why they thought it was sea monsters doing the thing. So Jean's looking, he's holding out hope that his dad's still alive out there somewhere, and he wants to go out and find him, I guess. Mix that in with he also wants to impress Nadia and take her to what she thinks could be possibly her homeland. But as we know, Africa's a big place, and it's far away. Oh, excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Oh, okay. So they meet the crew of the battleship. You get some more backstory there, and Grandis and crew are after him. They get pounded with missiles. They surrender. They're also on the ship now. You're learning the world. Does a good job. How did you guys feel about how this was all executed at the beginning? Because I was 100% invested in all this. I was getting heavy around the world in 80 days vibes through this all.
Yeah, no, I really like the setup for this. I just kind of meeting the characters, seeing how everything flows together. Like it makes sense. It's like it's not like at least I'm not sitting there going fucking picking it apart and going like, yeah, no, I like that the characters there. They come off as kind of those typical. They come off kind of like oh my god.
Goofy?
What am I trying to say here? Well, obviously goofy, but like cartoons, they come from kind of one-dimensional right away. Like it seems like you meet John. John is an inventor. That's what he is. Nadia, she is woke. You have
she's an abandoned girl, essentially.
Yeah, I mean she hasn't turned woke yet, but yes. But like they all seem.
We'll get there.
They all seem very. Like. Like you said, the Grandis and her gang, they remind you of Team Rocket, right? They all seem fairly, like, cartoonish and one-dimensional. They have their thing going for them, and that's who they are. It's kind of like they haven't properly started, peeling the characters apart yet, which is something that, if you know Honor works, you know that he really does like to start peeling personality layers.
Right. Thank you. What are your thoughts on the start?
At the beginning, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Because of the setting, of course, at that time where you start, we don't know about Nautilus, Nemo yet.
Right.
So like we are facing really very basic time to engineering, where people couldn't make planes yet. The planes would appear in the beginning of the 1900s, and they would be made of bamboo and silk, just like the 14 Bs a Brazilian guy made, which we call the father of aviation. And John can make steel planes. You also have Graton, is a very fast and very advanced machinery at the beginning. But you can pass by that because of it's anime and you have all those elements behind, and why not? So it is very easy to get invested. It is quick from the get-go, give you a lot of to think about, give you a lot of time period pieces to digest, how you had that, how sci-fi kind of worked back then, especially with Jules Verne books, as we talked, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Mysterious Island that will be featured in the future of the show, and all the books of sci-fi from the 18. So very interesting. It's very interesting. It gets you hooked right away, and that is very good.
So from there, the Jean and Nadia get off the ship. They get, let's see, I have my facts right here. They fly away again. Do they crash again? And then the Nautilus picks them up?
Something like that.
Something like
wasn't
that.
Wasn't it the ship that crashed? I don't.
I think the ship tilted and they fall in the water with the failed airplane and not.
Yeah, because they tried to escape the ship, but they can't, and the ship tips and they fall into.
Okay, so then
the ocean, or
what happens? What happens there is basically the Nautilus, the submarine, picks them up, and then this is where the show immediately establishes that yes, we are in the 1800s. Things are very limited, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. This whole sea monster thing is actually kind of a civil war between a group of people that we come to learn about is basically Atlanteans. They're having a war between themselves. And the Nautilus is part of this, and this is where we get way into 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for a while. Because it's Jean and Nadia on the submarine, and we travel place to place, basically mirroring 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And yes, the show is very loosely based on it.
I'd say it's fairly heavily based on it. Actually, I mean, it's one of those things. It's one of those things that Anno has come out many times and said really stated that yes, this is heavily inspired by 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah, going from visiting Atlantis itself under the sea, a giant, there's a whole episode where while they're on their way, a giant squid, ancient squid, attacks the Nautilus. They get to Antarctica at one point, so it's definitely mirroring the story. Captain Nemo and the Nautilus, I mean, that's straight out of 20,000 Leagues as well. The difference being that it's molding that together with Nadia and Jean's adventure, and that's where like the Around the World in 80 Days comes in, or the other Verne book that I can't remember, but that involves an island adventure.
Mysterious Island. Yes. Mysterious Island. Yeah. The Lincoln Island.
Yeah.
Which they went to in episode 21.
23 is when the island arc starts.
23. They call the island, the desert island they are in, Lincoln Island, just like the book.
Yeah, very, very strange. Like, we're calling this Lincoln Island. Why?
Because Japanese does not know about copyright.
Right. So, how did you guys feel about this whole Captain Nemo and Nautilus thing? At least at this point in the story, and
I personally liked it.
20,000 Leagues esque.
I liked it. It gave more sense to that whole sci-fi thing. Sci-fi. So for me, I was still very much on board with this idea. It's kind of like, yeah, sure, why not? And I started. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I know it's after they get on board the Nautilus, they start to show you certain things that made me question kind of what this is. But I'm not going to talk about that before it's actually revealed.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was immediately getting that sense too, and the dialogue and writing involved with it was hinting at such things, like Jean going, wow, he was questioning the engineering. He was saying things like, a lot of these things shouldn't exist here.
They discover even certain even a language. This is obviously more in reference to Nadia. They discover writing in the Nautilus there that's not language known to them, or to him at least. It's not to Nadia for some reason, but they don't know why. So it starts to kind of build this, there is something going on underneath there that we don't know what is.
Right. It was giving me kind of that. Have you guys seen the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yes.
Because I think that has the Nautilus as well, and it was 20,000 Leagues esque, and that's why. But the secret organization has this heavy technological advancement unknown to the current state of mankind.
But they look from the era the is from. But that doesn't happen in Nadia. This is one of the setbacks. This is one of the things I didn't like when Nautilus appears, because I love 2000 Legs under the, one of my favorite sci-fi books. It is very good, really, really good. You should, whoever is listening to this, you should go and read that book. It's awesome. Well, there are a few differences between the book and Nadia. The first one is the technology. The technology is way too advanced. It is so advanced that the Nautilus crew says you can have the kids going around the ship because they won't understand. You can have anyone from outside the ship. They can look at the technology, they won't understand. Even the people working on Nautilus don't understand most of the technology that they are using. They are just using. So no matter what you do, no matter if you study, you don't have the capability to understand and to replicate what is going on with that technology.
Yeah, there's even a scene where Jean has a bunch of books on the Nautilus, and he's just reading them, and he goes, I don't get it.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. And that is a really big and bold claim when you have a kid that can make a modern-looking airplane, and Hanson, who can make a fucking awesome thing that is way better than even the modern things we have now.
Everything was a lot more mechanically controlled, as opposed to the Nautilus being computer controlled. So the idea of a computer just doesn't register with, I guess, Hansen and.
I mean, it's not exactly. There's other elements into play there, which is kind of where you go away from that technology thing. But again, we're going to talk more about that at the end. So. Sure.
Yeah, but as long as we stayed within that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea theme that they were going for.
And theme, yeah. Like, we can even skip a little bit to the end. The ending would be fine if they would stick with this setting of 1800 sci-fi. That would be fine. Unfortunately, they didn't do that.
No, they couldn't help themselves, could they?
No.
Wouldn't be Anno if he held himself back.
Oh, so as this 20,000 Leagues arc is moving on with the plot and expanding, the show then starts to introduce the enemy Gargoyle and his group of what they call Neo-Atlanteans, and that's what the Nautilus is fighting. Very interesting here. Oh god, Tori, why don't you help me out here?
What do you want? Gargoyle and his Neo-Atlanteans?
Yeah,
they're
they're
the bad guys.
Yeah, they're the bad guys. Like, what is their purpose? How do what they do pertains to Nadia and her jewel?
Well, obviously, they are looking to get Nadia's blue water, as you can kind of then infer. From the title, The Seeker of Blue Water. There is something about this jewel that everyone wants. Like, there's some sort of device, maybe some sort of power, and Gargoyle's the same. They really want that, so they try to kidnap Nadia. They are trying to kidnap Nadia for... Did they say that right away when they kidnapped her? I don't remember if that's later.
No, they did have hints of like calling her princess and...
Yes, there's stuff there, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking giant.
Yeah, you're talking... Let's just stop and why they want Nadia, because they need the blue water for a weapon.
Right.
They showed that right at the beginning when Mari appears, and they
Nadia, the kid.
They're in the Nautilus, then they are not in the Nautilus. They go drift in the ocean again, and they end up in this island. They flying through the sky, and the Groton and Gandhi's group is in this island already. They shoot down Nadia and John. They fall in this island, and there's this army, this weird army in the island. Then it is your first introduction to Gargoyle, and in that island they are building this weapon called Babel Tower. And they need blue water. The blue water used as a lens for a...
Yeah, that's the weapon I'm talking about. But yeah. That's not... That wasn't with their first interaction. That's not their first interaction. That's the second time.
Yeah, your first interaction is the submarine, but...
but I'm talking about... They have this fight on... They have this like weird where they keep... Or like when they're trying to, or the Gargoyle, the submarines, they're being chased, and they kind of follow them to this island, don't they?
No. Like Hickey said, the Nautilus lets them go. They fix the plane. Jean and Nadia are flying essentially. They're going back basically, and they get shot down as they're coming to an island.
Mm-hmm.
By Groton.
So they crash land.
And in the island, they see the Ku Klux Klan army, and they're like, "Who the fuck are those people?"
Yeah,
but they don't know they are behind the... What is the name of the submarine? Neo-Atlantic submarine.
They call them like the Guardfish. Yeah.
Guardfish, yeah. They doesn't know they are behind the Guardfish. They only discover that when they go to the place where the industry and Babel Tower are.
Yes.
They see the Guardfish there. They're like, "Oh, those people are the bad guys."
Yeah. Okay, now I know. I had the order reversed. That's why.
That's when also Jean and Nadia come across a family on the road. A mom, dad, little girl, and a dog, essentially just shot dead right in the street. And the Nadia finds Maria is actually still alive. Her mom protected her from taking the bullets of the Ku Klux Klan evil gargoyle guys, just shooting them down. So Maria's still alive, and they got it, and she's 4 years old and doesn't really quite understand. Where's my mom and dad? And they're like, not here right now. Kind of, it's all kind of sad. This arc was very interesting because now I think it properly. It was a slow introduction onto kind of who the Nautilus is fighting against, to an extent. Gargoyle is definitely evil, and his organization is evil, and they take no prisoners essentially, but they kind of do later.
They're bad guys.
They're definitely bad guys. They basically committed. They murdered an entire island of people.
Yes, genocide.
Yeah, they committed a genocide to make this Tower of Babel. And they're trying to. Gargoyle's trying to work around needing the blue water to get this to work. So he doesn't. He didn't like totally need it, but it was definitely kind of a shortcut to the extent. Because I believe Gargoyle even has a line going, "We got to get this to work. I only care about results." And as soon as the blue water's there, he's like, "Oh well, fuck it. I'll just use that because that activates it much quicker that way."
They have the it's the power of the blue water that does it. I think they remember they talked about like alternative power sources, obviously, but that would require a lot more work and it would take a lot longer. It's kind of just like, well, that's got all the power we need right there. Like, fuck it, go for it.
Yeah, I quite like that, because there's a lot of instances in shows where they don't really mention or even explore the idea that there are other possibilities to get this shit to work. In the sense of Gargoyle, he straight up says, "Oh, the blue water's here? Well then screw all this research we're doing. We got this right here, right now. Let's just use that." And I quite like that. So you meet Maria. She essentially becomes part of the group. Like, she's as much as part of the story as Nadia and Jean are. More or less a comic relief character, but she does serve a purpose.
As well as her little lion.
Yeah, and Nadia has a lion named King, a baby lion that hooks around. And King's awesome, by the way, guys. Love King.
King is awesome.
He was.
He's very Scooby-Doo-esque, that's for sure.
little Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. So, just so happens Grandis and crew are also captured by Gargoyle's men. They want to know how, like, anybody even found the island and came across it, so they interrogate him. Oh, we're looking for blue water, and that's when Gargoyle's like, hold on, I know that. Because I was very questioning, why didn't they just shoot him dead right then and there? But that's why. They said, oh, we're after the blue water.
Did they strike a deal?
Well, the deal was you'll let us live and let us go.
Well, no, I know, but I think I think there was a deal that they would let them go if they got them the blue water, or if they told them where Nadia and them were. So that
it was just the blue water's here, and that's why we're here, kind of thing. And Gargoyle's like, okay, maybe I should keep him alive, because then that'll solve my whole can't get this thing to work right now kind of deal. But once he has what he wants, he definitely wants to murder everybody. That's a theme. That's a theme. Tell me what I want to know, or you're gonna die now. Okay, we told you what we told you what we need. All right, well, you told me, so I'm gonna murder you now.
You're gonna get out of this only one way, and that's dead. I mean, come on. You don't commit like genocide like 3 times and not be a bad guy, okay?
Yeah.
Like, at least they know that they're not. The show was like, no, let's try to redeem this man. No, fuck that.
No, yeah. Here, I got a picture for the live stream of the Ku Klux Klan villains.
I love that design. It's so silly. It's so like oh, when they introduced them, I'm like, yeah, there's no way these guys are in any way, shape, or form good.
Yeah,
these are the stereotypical villains.
That they never tried to redeem Gargoyle in any way. He was the bad guy, period.
They tried to.
No, they did not try to. You gotta pull that.
Come on, the irony at the end with Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh, the irony at the end is because he's a fucking moron. That is him trying to grasp the power he cannot obtain.
They still try to, light things up for him.
No, they did not try to redeem him.
From episode 23, but we're going to talk about that.
So let's see here. Let me look at the episode list here. So let's see. Oh, okay. So as they're coming across the, through shenanigans and awesome Lupin-esque chase scenes and trying to beat the villain, Grandis, Hansen Sansen, John, Nadia, and Maria all get off the island with the Babel exploding, getting broken, and Gargoyle's like, fuck it, whatever. Better to be exploded than having any of the technology or anything get into the hands of others. Especially the Nautilus crew, who's after them. So the group gets back on the Nautilus, and this is where they essentially become part of the crew, because now they know Gargoyle and all of that. They can't just. I guess they don't want to let him go now at this point.
Yeah, but this is also one of those things that I appreciate, because obviously a lot of the times when it comes to these type of stuff, it's like you got to defeat the bad guy. What do? Well, take away his giant weapon. The reason why Gargoyle is dangerous is because, well, you took away his giant weapon. Well, who cares? We can build another one. Like, you haven't done anything to us yet. You need to stop us. You can't just destroy our weapon.
Yeah, they're out to physically kill him and his crew. They want to end him. And you get a hint of the motivations behind the Nautilus to be. After that, you learn. I believe this is the moment where the first officer, Elektra, who's under Nemo, says, this band of crew got together 13 years ago because they all came from the same place. That Gargoyle was the one that destroyed their home. So their motivations are very clear, and that's when you get this. It's still sticking with the theme of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They gotta, repair the Nautilus. They're after Gargoyle's ship and crew, mixing in with the American Army and their battleships, kind of getting caught up in between. And Gargoyle is basically trying to stop the Nautilus from following them. He wants them destroyed, and that leads all the way up to episode 22. Where the Nautilus does get destroyed, and everyone kind of...
do we talk about how he got destroyed with the spaceship?
Yeah, I'm just getting us all the way to that half point in the show. So, Nautilus gets destroyed. Jean, Nadia, and Maria get separated. Even Grandis and crew get separated, and that's when the island arc starts. But Hickey, let's now discuss what you want to, is everything up until that point. Because the island arc is definitely the stopping point.
Yeah, I mean, the John and Marty, Nadia inside of the Nautilus, it is very interesting because, there's a lot of character development in Nautilus. Grandis and crew also gets a lot of improvement in character.
Yes.
A few deconstruction of characters, especially with Nadia, start you having some weird talks, especially towards Nemo, where she goes, Nemo is a killer, thus he's a bad guy. No matter how many times he saved my ass, he's a bad guy because he kills people.
Right.
He's got a very black and white outlook on stuff. Like, there is no if you didn't do this, there's no. It doesn't matter. If you do something bad, you're bad.
Yeah, definitely one of the more impactful scenes of how Nadia looks at everything in that black and white sense was when a crew of Gargoyle, or one of Gargoyle's men, as they're on one of the islands that they visit, Gargoyle's men attempts to shoot and kill Nadia, and he misses in his state, and Nemo just straight up fucking kills him right then and there. And the crew of the Nautilus is like, yeah, killed his ass, awesome. And then Nadia just goes, you killed him. It doesn't matter if he had a gun pointed at me. You murderer. You're all murderers, right? Right?
Yeah. She says that again inside of the Nautilus, and she got bitch slapped the first time. And Nemo is just like, don't say those things. They're very sad. She said, like, I hope you die. She was wishing Nemo to die just because he saved her life, basically.
Right.
Yep.
Very black and white to that.
But like the biggest part Nadia started to, in my opinion, making this show not so good when she gets inside of Nautilus, because everyone in Nautilus are good people. They are helping everyone, but Nadia is she doesn't want to trust the Nautilus crew. Even Grandes and Hanson and Sensen start to get that image of forced villains to be introduced to you debunked as good people.
Mm-hmm.
And John sees that. Nadia just screams at everyone, is not happy anytime, and everyone ignores her.
They definitely do ignore her. Oh, yeah. That is for sure. Nadia goes through a very weird... you call it character development or character regression? Like, she has this... I mean, I can't really call it regression because she doesn't regress. The thing is, when you're introduced to her, Nadia is incredibly selfish. But as thing kind of goes forward, you start to see these like flaws in her logic. She is very against killing of any kind. Basically, she has, like we said, a black and white view of murder is bad. It doesn't matter why you killed someone. It's like, everyone tried to explain her. Well, see, him killing one of the gargoyles man means that he saved your life and probably saved a lot of other people's life. But she does not accept that. It's not matter. It's a life for a life. You took one person's life. You have no right to take another person's life. And I feel like what they tried to do with Nadia is they tried to play that like kind of the moral high ground, which is just like why should like yes, it's a difficult situation because it's like people are killing each other anyways, right? Anyway, right? But like the question is just whose life matter more? Does anyone's life matter more? Do you have the right to take someone else's life? Like, who made you God? That kind of stuff. And she does kind of... I think there are times where she does that well, but it is just kind of like... She can... I agree with Heike on this. She can wear on your patience sometimes.
Yeah, no, like, that is fine. When you're inside of the Nautilus, it is fine, because you have other characters to counterbalance. Although she's going, like, with this moral high guard, as you said, you have the Grandes, Hanson, and Samson having a huge development. You have the Mist of Faith episode, which impacts Jean especially heavily, which is basically Nautilus is attacked. The machine room will be filled with toxic gas, and one of the crew members, which had like this cool guy personality and were very friendly and a friend of Jean. Always put him up and try to make him go after Nadia's law, which leads to another thing that I didn't like with Nadia, where this Mr. Faith, he grows flowers inside of the ship, and he gives Jean a bouquet and says, girls love flowers, just go there and give it to her. He goes and he's like, oh, here, you have those flowers. And Nadia's like, oh, they're beautiful. Where did you get that? And what Jean said is, oh, Mr. Faith created them with science, as in the sense of he cultivated them with science, with the science leadership. And she gets pissed and says, well, I guess your science can create life, fuck you, and goes away. But that guy is a very good guy. He goes, like, he's stuck in the machine room, and he's like, okay, it is fine, I understand. Everyone who's inside of the ship knew this moment will come to everyone. This is fine, and then there's silence. After that, he just starts screaming he doesn't want to die. It is a very ugly, and that wears a lot in Jean, in how he sees things and how he sees the Nautilus crew. Nadia, she doesn't care a bit about the death of others, although she's always defending you shouldn't kill anything. She doesn't really care.
Yeah,
so like when you
The second stint on the Nautilus, just to interrupt you here, is where Nadia's personality starts getting that inconsistencies. Because up until the point, she was very consistent, even if it was a black and white aspect on a few things. Once this really starts to break down about at this halfway point in the show. That's where Nadia started wearing on me, especially with how quick she was to just resort to anger and just seeing everybody as just evil, only herself and what she does is right. Very woke attitude.
Like I said, Anu was always very ahead of his time.
Very interesting watching this in 2018 when everyone seems to be woke and whatnot. I mean, there's the whole scene where on that same island, when they're on the second stint in the Nautilus, right before the episode right before where Nebo shoots the dude to save Nadia and others from being shot by Gargoyle's crew. They go out and hunt for meat, for animal meat, because they're so sick of eating fish all the damn time. Mm-hmm. And there's a really funny scene where Jean is all happy. He's like, I got the hunted, we killed they ended up killing a baby deer. And the way the picture goes, they have the carcass and they just flop it right in front of Nadia, knowing that she doesn't like eating meat.
There's a pool of blood around the
Yeah, just here's a baby deer. Bam, we're having venison tonight, bitches. And she just gets this like PTSD face, like, oh, you're all cruel murderers. It's so funny. Just bam, here it is.
Yep. There are moments like that.
I would admit that. The baby deer thing.
No. I would absolutely do that.
It was just to validate her point. So like it kind of has the opposite effect. Instead of validating her point, it's just like, I know whoever wrote it chose a baby deer to validate her point. So it's not working. If it was any animal, it could be like a baby deer. Really?
Do you
why
know
not?
How delicious venison is?
Food is food, man. You got to eat.
No, because we don't.
I love that. I love it. They do have a bit of dickish moments though. It's like towards Nadia, and I feel like it's justified a lot of the time. Like, because obviously Nadia does have a very overbearing personality, by quite a lot, and I definitely understand why she is so popular as she is. She probably sparked a whole nother legion of vegetarians.
Oh, sure.
No, she has she is very quick to judge. I understand some of her points, and that's something I point out, especially in on the Nautilus, when Nadia starts to turn very cold towards John. It seems a bit weird, but as kind of pointed out to John as well, she is voicing her annoyance with him and his inventions because she wants his attention. He is not willing to give her his attention. She is basically being, excuse me, ladies, but she is being stereotypically a woman. You're more interested in your toys than you are in me. And she does have these, and again, kind of, this is that point where she becomes that character. She wants to be left alone because she doesn't like anyone, but she does not want to be alone. She likes John, but she doesn't like John, so she wants his attention, but she does not want his attention. Getting his attention makes her angry. He eats meat. She doesn't accept eating meat. There's a whole bunch of things there with Nadia that kind of makes her female. She becomes irrational. Yeah, no, she becomes just like, and I'm not afraid to say it, she becomes downright irrational.
Yeah, it's irrational is better.
Well, she only wants Jean's attention when it's convenient for her.
Yes, and that is something that, but again, that's even way later. Again, when she does something that, as a man, you sit there and be like, not cool.
She does that a lot of times. Jean's a bit oblivious to things, but he's also a 14-year-old boy.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about after he's kind of realized that, oh yeah, I like this one, and she's just like, I'm no longer interested.
He's talking about the African
Yeah.
Cute boy. But like other characters, they grow a lot. Grandis fall in love with Nemo, and because of her love for the captain, Electric characters start flashing out.
Yes.
She loses that composed figure whenever Grandis start talking to her, so it is very fun.
Yeah, I like that bickering between those two. It's kind of like.
But you have the first thing I really didn't enjoy, which is the review of Grandis' resolution as a character. Her backstory, it is great. It is great. I'm not saying anything about her backstory because I honestly thought it was great. The problem is like, well, because of everything that happened to me, I decided to kill every single jewel in the world like your blue water. And because of that, I invested millions in a fucking high advanced tank to go around and get you. The fuck?
I mean, remember, they're just 3-bit crooks at the beginning. It shows.
It was very weak.
Yes.
Very weak. That resolution is very weak. After that, you don't have the background story of Hanson and Sanson, but they talk about it. They talk about how their country is always at war. Right. So Hanson studied so he could make things to survive, and Sanson trained himself so he could hunt, shoot as a marksman, and be the strongest man alive, apparently, so he could survive the war.
Right.
And like that make a lot more sense. They following Grandis, so you don't need a motivation for them to go chasing after Nadia. But Grandis itself, why she wants the blue water is very weird.
She was betrayed, man.
Yeah, but like
she was betrayed by a man, lost her fortune. Yeah.
The problem is she went to get the fucking blue water.
It's goofy, but you know, I don't think it impacted the show in any way because side character and whatnot.
I just think it's one of those things. Like it's that or it's nothing.
Yeah.
The problem. It was a moment of weakness. It was like, oof.
I don't disagree. I don't think it's the strongest reasoning ever you can find for a character. But again, it's one of those things like I can't really find myself being mad at the show for saying, "Oh, she just wants jewels."
I wasn't mad. I just thought it was bad. But I wasn't mad. I was like, okay, you know, that is a weak resolution. Okay, but then we have the quote-unquote final encounters of the old Nautilus with Gargoyle, and yeah.
Oh, we're just gonna skip that one episode, huh?
Which one episode?
You know which one I'm talking about. Episode 25.
Oh, we're not.
No, we're on episode 22, 21.
22. Well, yeah, you haven't talked about that.
Where Nautilus is going.
Well, because Hickey was talking about the final encounter with the
Nautilus, not new Nautilus, the old Nautilus.
The old Nautilus,
not the spaceship.
I thought you said the final encounter with Gargoyle. That's all the way.
So, from 0 to 22, you know, characters aside, I thought the story it flowed well. It was very interesting. I liked Jean and his fascination. Like everything fit his character. A lot of the characters are being fleshed out. It seems to me the character that wasn't fleshed out really much at all, other than a black and white perspective, was Nadia herself.
Yeah, there's kind of the problem, right? Because
yes,
you can't flesh out Nadia at this point because obviously the thing that JD and Hickey keeps referring to as that thing that they refuse to talk about is, for now at least, is the plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Nadia's character. The plot twist is where Nadia's character comes to the forefront. That's where, I'm not going to say you start to understand her personality. Personality is something else. But it's where you understand kind of why haven't they kind of been trying to figure out, you know, other than, oh, she's black, so she's from Africa. Why is that the only thing we're getting?
Yeah, what is the purpose of the blue water? Why it is,
What is the secret?
What is the secret? It was so weird watching the show because there's this narrator, right?
Yep.
And it recaps the previous episode. I'm like, okay, cool. And it always ended with the same sentence, with something along the line of, when is Jean and Nadia gonna find the secret of blue water? I'm like, what? There is no secret. It was just this jewel that was connected to the tech device on the island once. And Grandis wants it because it's pretty. Like, okay, is that the secret? Like, what is this thing that you're hinting at that doesn't exist in the show yet? And it has a deep connection with Nadia, who she is, where she comes from, etc., etc. So, epic battle ensues with the Nautilus and and Gargoyle's future tech flying spaceship type thing.
Looks like it came straight out of Dunbine.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So is this? Yes, this is where we find out that Nemo is the father of Nadia, because they separate, and there's a little hologram kind of thing. Which I'm like, how does that technology exist? Even with the establishment of how advanced the Nautilus was. It's like, how does that thing exist?
Before that, we go to South Pole days, and there's some very weird and way too futuristic technology there as well.
Yeah, they get to the South Pole, and that's like where the Nautilus was made, and John and Nadia talk to a whale.
Nadia talks to a whale.
Well, Nadia talks to the whale.
This is when the sci-fi parts start kicking in.
Yes.
Because and it is bad. Why it's bad? Because after that point, everything that is way too advanced, they say, "Oh, the Atlanteans did that." Done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's exactly where it starts establishing. Well, not the lack of establishing is just it scapegoats pretty much everything from this point on. Like, all well and good, you know. Yeah, okay, it gets really sci-fi-esque. It kind of hinted at things like things around that realm. So let's, before we get to how the show ends in those last like 4 or 5 episodes, we can't not talk about the island arc, where the crew of the Nautilus sacrifices themselves essentially. I thought it was clear as day that they died here, because they do self-destruct the ship and everything, and take out all of the guardfishes that they were after, and they were hoping the ensuing explosion would take out Gargoyle's ship that was above them. Doesn't happen. Nadia finds out that Nemo was the father, which then made me question, like, wait, why was she an orphan in a circus then? Like, how did that come to be? We never find that out.
Well, shit happened. He went to war, man.
Yeah, but
he didn't have time to fucking raise no kid.
Yeah, well, that's just proves that. Yeah,
he had time to fuck Elektra. But
listen. Okay, that was later. That was way later.
Yeah.
That doesn't. The war was coming to it. He thought he would die. Shut up.
It was so bizarre to me. I'm like, wait, you're the father. You've been alive this whole time. You established that this island was invaded by Gargoyle to an extent, and killed everyone. You left your daughter, like, what did you do with her? Did you just, I'm going to war, throw her out in France somewhere?
They probably, he didn't find her, if I remember correctly.
Because
I know he's
off the island then.
Who the fuck knows? That's not what but I remember him saying something about that he couldn't find her again after, and he had to make a choice. Basically, like, remember the thing with Nemo is that the entire thing that comes down to him at the end there is he is essentially, you know, that kind of comes with Elektra when she betrays them. She obviously blames Nemo. She likes Nemo, or she is in love with Nemo, but she also blames him for, after figuring out that he is probably responsible for the death of her parents. So she ends up wanting to kill him.
Well,
and
she also has the she. This is what I thought they did well with her, is she finds rationalization in his decision, but can't find it in her heart to totally forgive the atrocity that happened.
Obviously, and you shouldn't. He killed her parents, but like it's one of those things where it's odd because she ended up falling in love with this man, but at the same time she should hate him, and
a bit of she wants to him there for sure.
Yeah, she wants to kill him, but she fails to kill him. And then she wants to kill herself. Nemo will not let her kill himself, and then obviously comes Nemo's motivation for everything. I am doing this. I'm throwing myself headfirst and literally risking my life in this war against Gargoyle as an atonement for all the atrocities I've done.
Right.
Because obviously his hands aren't clean.
He committed a genocide by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's good motivation. So. The crew gets split up. Nadia, Jean, and Maria and King all end up on an island. Like they get
Lincoln Island.
And oh boy. So I didn't hate this at first in the first like episode or two. Okay.
Okay. First of all, there's the spaceship, the huge spaceship.
Yeah, Gargoyle has a spaceship.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fine. Not because of the spaceship, but because when Nautilus self-destruct, it goes out in a whirlpool. If you read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Nautilus goes in, dies, get destroyed in a maelstrom. So that is fine. They go to Lincoln Island, which is in a book that came out in 1874.
Yep.
The Mysterious Island. You have the Lincoln Island, which is actually it's Captain Nemo hideout in the book.
Yeah, that's the main hideout.
Oh, sorry, I dropped my microphone. That is fine. I'm gesticulating with my hands because I'm Brazilian. But that's fine. But then there's another huge problem, and that's why when we're talking about the time in Nautilus and how Nadia starts to become obnoxious, it was important to have other characters around. When they are in the island, you have King, which doesn't talk, Marty, a little kid, Jean, which is very one-dimensional, and Nadia. Nadia has her name on the fucking title of this anime. She's the main focus of the shit, which means the camera is always on her, but she's getting with a really weird vegetarian mindset. And because of that, not only because of that, but also because they are in Desert Island, only those characters, they cannot take the camera out of Nadia. And when they do, Marty, King, and Jean together, they don't have the backbone to carry the episode by themselves. So they always need to go back and Nadia has started having this weird acid dream personality where if you eat meat, you are evil. And because of that, she needs to hate everyone that eats meat. And even Marty, which is a 4-year-old kid, started calling her out, saying, I need to eat. If I don't eat, I will die. And Nadia says, well, I guess you die then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, come on.
Fantastic line when the 4-year-old calls out the main character of the show for being psychotic and irrational. Because that's what the whole Island arc told me, was Nadia is a psychotic,
irrational,
multiple personality, irrational person.
They got Island disease, man. Yes, I will agree with this. The Island arc, like I said, I said this in the Discord as well. When I looked at how long the Island arc is, it's 9 episodes, and until they leave the island.
9 episodes, 3 filler.
Yes,
to an extent, yeah.
Well, we can get back to that. But what I want to say is, like, when I saw that, I was like, wow, it felt way longer. It felt like we were stuck on that island for way more than 9 episodes.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
It felt like endless eating.
But I will also say this. There are 2 episodes that I absolutely loved this island arc.
Okay, which are?
For the dumbest reasons. Episode 25, The First Kiss, which is more...
that one.
Yep, because, you know, that's that moment where you finally go, like, how much... how you've been wondering how much drugs Zano was on this entire time. And then that episode kicked in, and you're just like, yeah, that's a...
So what Tori's referencing is there's an episode where I believe Nadia was still in her kind of island fever state of I'm gonna be one with nature.
Yep.
And Jean is searching for her. No, he's searching for. No, Nadia came down. Nadia came
herbs.
down with like food poisoning.
Yeah, he's searching for food, herbs or medicine.
He's searching for medicine. He ends up in a cave with a bunch of mushrooms, and he's just kind of looking at a book. And the mushroom spores then give him like an LSD trip that gets him to eat the mushrooms to go even further into this fever drug state.
Mm-hmm. He is. It's one of the 2 weird episodes, and the episodes that I like, they're back to back, because then the next episode happens, and there's they have that moment where Nadia again is being all romantic. They're finally reunited. Nadia's being all romantic with John, and until she kisses him again, and it's just like he's just like, wow, that was my first kiss, and she breaks again because that was like, no, excuse me. You what?
And that's another example of irrational, just bad writing, because she knew he was in a this crazy fevered out state and asleep when she kissed him the first time. Of course he's not gonna know.
Island fever. And anyways, what eventually ends up happening is John ends up falling off a mountain and discovering oil. And ever since that, he starts impressing everyone. He can build everything. He's got oil now. He invents the craziest shit. And Nadia finally sees his way. She understands. Science is awesome. Until you realize that it was all just a dream.
It was all part of his acid trip.
Yeah. I love those. Those 2 episodes are 2 of my favorite episodes from this show. Yeah. They are so weird.
They were definitely out there. Well, I mean, that's why I didn't totally hate the island arc, because there was high points like that. Pun intended.
High points. Got it.
But then there's shit that you get where it just drags into nothing because of how long it takes, and you're seeing no progression. I go, so is this gonna? And I was asking myself, is this what the whole series is gonna be now?
Yeah, they in an island.
Are they just gonna finish out on the island? Like,
they could have.
I was like, because as far as I was concerned, no, I didn't totally buy that the crew of the Nautilus actually died, but I'm like, well, they did kill off a couple characters there, and okay, so many episodes have passed now. Are they just gonna make their life here? Okay, we're just never gonna know what happened to Gargoyle. I was actually asking me this because, yeah, like you said, Tori, it felt like forever. It really did. The pace and what the show was accomplishing. I just had no idea where they were going with it. And it turns out they went nowhere with it. They were just on an island for 9 episodes.
Yeah, and you got such great episodes as the drug episodes and the King versus King episode.
So, yeah, typhoon ends up happening, and then another island is just drifting by. And they're like, well, that's weird. Okay, let's go to it. And that's where Grandis and crew have just been hanging out. Oh, and this, American dude.
Yeah.
Or no, this,
Awesome.
He was just kind of hanging out
by
there
the way,
as well.
He has the same name as the main character of Mysterious Island.
Yeah.
I mean, you say he's just been hanging out there, discovered and buried. He's just got his head above his head, like, yeah, yo, guys, Give me a hand here. Give me out, please.
He definitely had island fever. 100%. So the whole crew's reunited, and then for, I think it's like 3.5 episodes there, it's just nonsense. I mean, it's very Lupin-esque nonsense of just shit going down, just wacky things. Like they both create, Hansen and Sansen create mechanical kings to race against each other.
Yeah, that was also a break in suspension of disbelief because just reminding what I said at the beginning. Nautilus crew said, "Oh, whoever outsiders can look around the ship they want," and there we go, having Jean in a desert island without any technology whatsoever, making better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And robots.
They're inventors, man. They can do whatever. Inventors use magic, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what science is, magic. So
if you don't understand, it is magic.
Yeah. From there, the group of people meet native islanders somehow. No, they get off the island. They do eventually repair the Hansen's big ball of technology, and they crash land on another island, and they meet this tribal group of people. They take them in.
Wait a second. There's something big you're forgetting.
What's that?
The bullshit sci-fi of the island they're in.
Oh,
because
the Red Noah,
actually an island.
Yeah,
is actually a spaceship called Red Noah, which is basically the Ark of Noah, but made by aliens. And then you have this weird Neon Genesis Evangelion thing where Nadia is just absorbed by the fucking ship and start talking to the Deus Ex Machina. And she's like, I don't want to be bad, I don't want to have the power to destroy everything. And Deus Ex Machina says, okay, fine, here, have the coordinates of the thing, like the place where you were born.
Yeah, Tertessos.
Right. Yeah, so like it's like
you're right, Hickey. I skipped over it because it broke me in the show horribly.
Yeah, it was like, what is going on? Like, it is the first what is going on of this series. Well, not the first, because the first is a fucking spaceship. But it's like there's this huge sci-fi plot twist going on, and they start talking about how Atlanteans are aliens that came from a star near the sun, and founded a fucking...
Have you never heard that before, Hickey? God, what are you? Have you never heard that? That's one of the most popular theories when it comes to ancient. They're aliens.
The problem is, it doesn't fit the fucking show.
Of course it fits. Nah, man, it fits perfect.
It doesn't fit. Do you have island fever?
I thought it fit very well.
No, I'm definitely with Hickey here. As soon as it went down where Nadia they plot twisted it where Nadia is the descendant of the ancient alien Atlanteans, and the blue water is part of her destiny. I go, they ran out of every idea they possibly could, or they just fucking flipped the script and they went, we're making the show this now.
Nah.
It was such hot trash that it honestly broke me in the show, because then from that point on, it wasn't Nadia Secret of Blue Water anymore. Now it was Evangelion.
It always ends up in Evangelion.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. Those first 22 to 24 or 5 episodes, I was down. I was fine. The spaceship I overlooked. I was willing to.
Until I would say half of the island arc, I was like, this is fine. But then, like, when you hit the half, which is like episode 26, with Jean having a weird acid dream again,
right?
Nadia character started to become very inconsistent.
Yes.
Because she, at one episode, she loves Jean. At the other episode, she hates Jean. Not to mention the talking about, since you eat meat, you should stop eating and die. As she's talking to a 4-year-old. Those kind of things, it start taking it is bad. It's like it takes a heavy hit on the show, and your suspension of disbelief start getting mined down until you get to the Red Nova thing. And like, she's suddenly what Tori calls character development after that plot twist is just Nadia gaining access to the understanding and knowledge of the universe, as she'd never heard about anything about that, about what she's talking about any before, but she starts sprouting about a bullshit like it is true, although she never heard about it.
Yeah, like I mentioned in chat yesterday, I go, so I guess it's my understanding that the blue water connected to this ancient alien computer, then the computer then injected all of this information she needed into her brain to tell her everything she needed to know. It was such a cop-out writing plot just to continue the story of some way, and to who Nadia, quote-unquote, is.
Yeah. I didn't pay much attention to, like, she started talking about the plan to the things like that. I was like, okay, fine, you know what, you know about everything, whatever, yeah. Just keep going,
that's exactly
because
what
I want to see where...
You just have to go, okay, whatever, I guess you're right now.
Yeah, because like, at this point, I was like, okay, you can say that, you can talk about that, you can develop the plot, but let's go back to 2000 Leagues Under the Sea after that, okay? Yes? No.
Well, the other aspect of the show, what ends up happening is, because she, like, even when she starts interacting with other people again, Nadia, because Grandis and everybody's involved again, she starts taking advice, and two things happen. The show focuses on Nadia 100%. Jean then starts to take a back seat, and as far as I was concerned, up to that point, he was the main crux of the show, and his motivation was to help Nadia. And Jean ends up becoming a even more one-dimensional side character with no development anymore. Because from that point on, all we got was, we know he's in love with Nadia. That was established in episode 1. For the rest of the show, it's just, yeah, he loves her, he wants to save her. It became what we see now in modern anime, one motivation, one character aspect, and that's the whole character from that point on. It really irritated me.
That gets transparent when they get out of Red Nova and find the Trice people, where Nadia falls in love with another guy, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, two episodes ago, you were falling for Jean, you appreciated everything he did, and then all of a sudden, this tribal dude comes over, he's got big muscles, he's tall, and has a pretty face, and she just completely forgets about Jean, 100%. There's even a line where Maria just goes, I feel bad for Jean, he needs a chance to fight for her. No, that never happened.
Yeah, Jean was like, oh, no, it's fine.
No, what happened?
What?
It happened. What? He got a chance, and he blew it.
He didn't blow shit. Who blew was Nadia. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you want the same shit.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about later. You see, he got no chance to try to win Nadia. No, that's what he did. He tried. He fails multiple times. He tries to impress Nadia. He can't impress Nadia. The thing with the African dude is that, and this is where like temptation starts to play, because the thing about that African dude is that he is everything Nadia likes. He is like, he fits Nadia's ideal type, but just like it's with any usually is with any type, he's taken.
Right.
And his ideal type is not Nadia, which is kind of the same thing. John's ideal type is Nadia. John likes Nadia. John loves Nadia. John wants Nadia. Nadia is, yes, she is essentially using John's love for her to help herself out, which is why, like I said earlier, she is incredibly selfish, and she's been that the entire way. That's why she even joins him in the first place. The thing that then happens is that she starts to as she starts to be annoyed with them, the whole island fever thing, she feels like his usefulness to her is wearing off. Now she's finding something else that she's interested in. She obviously does have these talks with Grandis and whatnot about like, is this really right? Whatever. Because obviously, ultimately, whoever she falls in love with, that's her business. But there is these things where it's just like, and she is being called out on this, not all the time. And this is why I agree with Heikki where he says, you need the other characters around for her. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would actually agree with that. You do, because when she is left to her own mental state, she is irrational. She is just a very selfish person who can only see things her own way and refuses to accept that there can possibly be another way, or that somebody else can possibly be right. If something doesn't directly benefit her, it is wrong. It's you can't. I need you guys to be on board with my ideas, my ideals, my values, and do what you can for me. And if you ever break from my ideas of what are right, you are horrible, you are worthless to me, and I don't need you. You can go die. It is a character flaw in a way, but it's a character flaw that I kind of appreciate, because it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's a character flaw that's written in there with the purpose of being a character flaw. There are exceptions where this doesn't necessarily apply, but overall, Nadia was never portrayed as somebody who was like, oh yes, I absolutely will follow this guy because he is the one for me. Nadia has, since the beginning, been selfish and does not care about anyone, really, unless it's good for her.
I agree with you, but I think what the show was portraying her as was to be this person we need to like. And I just never liked Nadia in this entire show.
I disagree. I agree. I didn't like Nadia either, but I don't feel like the show tries to make you like Nadia. I feel like the reason why people might think that is because John likes Nadia, but you're not John. You don't have to like Nadia.
I feel bad for John. I really did.
I agree.
Especially after the tribes guy goes away, and she lost her first love. Like, damn, that was cold.
True though.
But no, I agree that Nadia is like that because it's a character flaw. It's there like that, but I don't appreciate the way. It goes a lot to the echo chamber. It would be a flaw if they would make a better job to, first of all, explain. You made a way better job explaining that flaw than the show. I'll give you that. Thank you, by the way.
I will. Well, again, I disagree because I'm not making this up. I feel like the show gave me.
No, I know the way you saw that and the way you explained to way better than the way I think the show did, because I understand now what you said and what the show transferred to me, especially because they don't make any effort to go out and explain that. They don't make any effort to make Nadia realize that for herself.
No.
And usually no one gives a shit about Nadia, and she's just spilling bullshit to the walls most of the time because no one cares. Especially that is fleshed out a lot in the island arc after Nadia comes back to the group and she's sprouting, like spilling bullshit, and John is like, really? Do you think so? The only thing, whenever she starts talking bullshit, John's response is, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? And she's like, yes, I'm sure. You're evil. Yes. Like,
he gave up trying to rationalize from Nadia after a certain point.
Just like me, just like JD, we gave up. Just like the series gave up because they were like, probably they thought we were going to get aboard when she was in Nautilus and saying killing is bad and antagonizing with her War Peace view and the other things. And, we would try to understand her vision more. But her vision was so extreme, and the life and death situations were also so extreme. We tend to go to the life and death,
right?
Rather than the war peace. So, like, I don't think it. I think it. Yeah, it was planned. Of course, it was planned. She's a character. She was written, but I don't think it was good development. Right. I don't think it was a good planning of it. I think her redemption didn't came. What came was her becoming this omniscient being that now knows the history of the world and the 80s.
Yeah.
That is not redemption. That is not character development.
I never said she was redemption. That was redemption
I know, I'm just saying, like, in my vision, they never try to redeem her. They don't try. They just say, let's forget that.
No.
Look at the 80s.
Right. Okay, so
we can move on.
Yeah, moving on. The island arc happened, and upon that, now it immediately goes into meeting the reuniting with the crew of the Nautilus, with the new Nautilus, and this is where the show just goes batshit insane.
Yeah. First of all, we went from European white to black. Nemo fucked her so hard, she changed it at the
I know. It's wonderful, really.
I just start laughing.
So much occurs here. So we went from the Island Arc 23 all the way to now basically the last 5 episodes. And let's see. Right after the recap / song episode, all dedicated to kind of what's happened in the series now. Jean makes a love song for Nadia. Naturally, it doesn't work out. Nadia gets mad. Very whatever.
Let's be real. That love song was off.
It was good intentions. Anyways, we get to know the secret of Blue Water finally. We get the new Nautilus. We get to know the backstory of Tartessos even more so. The motivations of the Nautilus's crew, Gargoyle's motivation. We get it just goes so crazy, super sci-fi. Oh my god, it's definitely up there with like a what the fuck type ending. I mean, it incorporates the last 5 episodes.
Yeah, the last 5 episodes are just a
it's a cluster
sequence of what
when you're told to end a 50 episode anime in the next 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really glad it ended like that. if I'm thinking,
I mean, it's a spectacle to behold. I'll give it that.
It was definitely a spectacle.
Canceled, and that was the ending plan, but they had to rush it. Oh my god, they would butcher way more Nadia than they did.
So let me just cliff note the ending here, and spoilers, whatever. New Nautilus, they basically reset. Now we're in a new Nautilus. Our whole cast of characters are all back together again. They're against Super Spaceship Gargoyle, who has, crazy shield. They have a one-on-one.
He became the steelhead Goku's Clan guy.
Yep. They have a 1v1 battle above Paris. And Gargoyle's crew is just trying to establish world domination. And their whole motivation is basically we're part of the ancient tribe, ancient people, alien people. We're the new Atlanteans. They go through. The Atlanteans created humans through gene manipulation to be slaves for the Atlanteans. So he's trying to. His whole motivation is he wants to be the emperor of the Atlanteans and to reclaim Earth and the humans as either your two options here. We're gonna murder all the humans, or the remainder will be slaves. There's nothing else, and yeah, that's a very evil plan.
Bad guy make bad guy himself.
Can't argue with that, and it's just a crazy 1v1 battle of that happening. Nadia gets kidnapped yet again because the shit. Don't they warp into space out of nowhere?
They warp right into space.
Okay. That happens for no reason. Don't really understand.
Religious symbolism.
It just happens. They gotta go to, it's just another case of, wow, Gynax and Anno just couldn't help themselves.
Religious symbolism.
First of all, the guy's so evil, he got Nadia's brother and turned him into a robot.
Yeah, he put his brain in a robot body. Because I guess that family is the only ones that can control the blue water jewels.
They are related to the Emperor.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, he steals the blue water, Nemo's blue water, which he had one, Nadia's blue water, goes to Red Nova. Red Nova is actually a very iconic-looking alien spaceship. The OVNI format with the balls under it. And there's a Bobble tower in this Red Nova.
Right.
He's using that to threaten the world.
Yeah.
Basically, New Nautilus destroys some Asian satellites that is used by Red Nova to direct the ray, just like that one episode in Yamato.
Yep.
Yeah, and
you like to use some references?
There was a lot of references sprinkled into Yamato in there, namely Nemo and how they portrayed him. Reminded me of Juzu from Yamato. Hard, even to the point where the hat would be halfway over one eye, and he'd always be looking up and have a line like, "Come on, crew, let's do this."
But I just want to say something. One thing that I did kind of like or appreciate is that, because for a long time, I mean, he doesn't appear all, but obviously a couple times throughout this series, you obviously have Gargoyle talk to the Emperor, the new Emperor guy, right? So one of the things that I kind of appreciated and that they did was when it turns out that at the end, no, actually, Gargoyle's been the main bad guy the entire time. So one of those things was like, because normally with these types of shows, you would obviously have the main bad guy. He is a veil of secrecy, and he will be revealed at the end.
Right.
Actually, you fought the bad guy the entire time. This guy is just a puppet.
Yeah, because they did give you the sense of hint.
Yeah.
One thing about Gargoyle is that he's voiced by a famous voice actor.
Yes, he is.
But he's basically every old man in anime. He's Fuyutsuki Sensei from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I think he's the giraffe and Shoujo Kageki who Starlight this season. So it is amazing. I just remember at this spot. Very good voice actor, by the way.
The voice acting in the show, I quite enjoyed, even with the dub. The only thing that bugged me was Jean's voice actor had a fake French accent the entire time.
That's because you watched the dub.
And then for some reason, Elektra was British. I think it was like the last 6 episodes, like half the staff's voice actors changed.
Oh my god!
And it was really odd. And then there was a lot of production problems. Hard. I think Elektra, Nemo, Jean, and a few other characters. Their race was changing all the time. At one point, I think Elektra in one episode, she went from white to black to Indian, I guess, or Mexican, whatever.
It's just the lighting, guys. Come on.
That was not a lighting thing. Like, their skin changed. All of that.
No, I know.
Nemo looked like he was.
See, I just.
Oh god! This show is so good. At the end.
I just like to picture like fucking Gynax. They were sitting there. They were drawing this like fucking. There's literally like 2 hours left until this is gonna air, and they're just sitting there. It's like, somebody give me the color, give me the skin tones, We're out. God damn it!
Give me the
Not again!
Emergency skin tone patch. We just got to throw some on here.
What do we got? Black, sure.
The other thing was, you know how we said like those chase scenes at the beginning were really fun, well animated. The end here, there was nothing animated. It was just here's an explosion, kinda. Here's a screenshot of an explosion, anyways. Here, you know that stuttering I mentioned earlier when everything was still? Very, very bad in these last 5 episodes. If anything, if they tried to not move anything, everything was still shots and vibrating back and forth all the time. But it ends exactly how you would expect it to end with well, at least if you've watched any Gynax show or even Darling in the Franxx from recently. It's just epic space battle. They get into the ship, they have the stare down, and probably one of the funniest showdowns of the characters going head to head I've seen in a long time anyways, and I shouldn't be laughing about it because it was supposed to be very dramatic.
Yeah, the battle between the spaceships reminded me of Dunbine. I'm sorry, I couldn't not remember Dunbine because Red Noah is so powerful, nothing can affect it.
No, it was the same thing.
Goes to Neo Nautilus. So you have 2 awesome and so powerful spaceships, they cannot hit each other. So like,
they just ram into it after a while. They're just like, all right, fuck it, we're going in.
Just like Dunbine.
You gotta remember, man. Fucking, oh no, he loved that shit.
So here's the showdown. Gargoyle has Nadia. He puts his like little magic helmet on her to become a puppet, just like the brother. And then you have Nemo, Jean, and Elektra walk in. All in the background, you have Grandis and crew trying to like blow up their little death laser device. Whatever. Hardly mattered. So this is where you get Gargoyle's kind of speech to everything and controls Nadia to shoot Nemo. So Nemo's been shot like 7 times. He's bleeding out so bad. There's just blood everywhere. It's a pool. And bear in mind, they're on like these spires, 100 feet in the air.
But JD, you need to understand. You haven't really realized yet that Gargoyle is a bad man. That's why he's using his own kids to torture him to death.
It's fine. Yeah, he's bad. I know. So, Nadia gets her brain control back because brother. They literally do the whole free will is stronger than machine thing. I'm like, okay, another little...
At the end, yes.
Yeah. We'll cop out
At the end it is. Not during the entire show, but now it is.
Well, no, now it's just every cop-out you can imagine in a writing or even character sense starts to happen.
JD, I just love, like, we just said you couldn't stop laughing, but, like, Elektra is being...
electrocuted, yeah?
Yes, exactly. I go, well, isn't that nice? Elektra is being electrocuted and her clothes are like coming off, but they just happen to stop dissolving right at the boobs. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Well,
I see, JD. You were disappointed by that. I understand.
I just found it funny. So she's been electrocuted. Nemo's been shot like 7 times. He's bleeding out hard. Nadia refuses to give control back to Gargoyle because now she's back in control of the blue water and everything because now it's all just concentrated through her mind. And Gargoyle just goes, okay, well, we're down to Jean. If you don't give me control, I'm going to kill him. She goes, no. And he snaps this is great. This is great. He snaps his fingers. The spire tilts, and Jean falls 100 feet and cracks his head open and dies. And it was just this thump.
That's all it takes, man.
He's shot by Nautilus.
He's dead.
Being, like, he's shot by Nautilus being and survived.
So bad.
Like,
he was not shot by Nautilus beam.
Boom. Oh.
He was not shot by Nautilus beam. He went over them.
Why he was like outburned at the end.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
We were just but that was you remember the beam came over them and hit the fucking thing. They didn't hit them. It's just that they were so close to it, affected by it. They probably got cancer, but like that's irrelevant.
But anyways,
shot by the bean. That's fine.
Anyways, if you can't tell, yeah, the ending was a mess. It's everything that you can imagine it to be a mess.
It's everything that you love in Arnold's work, and you know it.
Sure. So,
of course, yes.
Gargoyle's been sort of defeated at this point. Nadia's all upset. Jean's dead, and is it Nemo or Elektra who goes, well, you can still save him with the power of the blue water. Just kind of out of nowhere. We're like, what?
I think it's Nemo.
I think it's...
Yeah, Nemo's somehow still alive, even though he's clearly bled out.
It's Nemo, man.
It's very anime. Yeah. So then she just puts her hands together, and light ensues from the power of all of the ancient ancestors of Atlantis and their souls. It's fucking plot magic. Jean doesn't die. He's brought back to life.
They have all the science.
Yeah, all the science. All of the science. There we go. All of the science brought him back. And Gargoyle is in this. You're gonna get rid of the power of the blue water, and he just sticks his hand there. He turns to ash and dies. I'm like, okay.
The other plot twist: he was human the entire.
He turns into salt.
Yes.
He dies, and that's a biblical reference because it's Hideaki Anno, of course.
He was ash.
No, salt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's salt, just like in the Bible.
But isn't that crazy though, guys? He was actually not an Atlantean.
Well, then how does he know all of this shit? Then
shut up.
How do you find all that out? Nope, forget it. So.
Well, because the computer said to him that
right, he found a computer on an island or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's happening at this point in the show? Because Jean's come back to life. They all get back to the new Nautilus. Did they call it the Neo Nautilus or the new Nautilus?
I think it was the new Nautilus.
It means the same thing. Whatever.
Well, yes, except for the reason why they use Neo is because they want you to think of something else when they're talking about Gargoyle.
So Nemo stays behind to self-destruct the ship to take out Gargoyle's ship and his men to put an end to the problem. I was like, okay, fine. And then the show ends. It cuts to the prologue, or I'm sorry, the epilogue of 12 years later, just showing where everyone's now at.
You need an aftermath. You need to know what else.
It shows a character you don't know who it is. Okay?
Yes. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this person? Yeah, who's telling this story? And then,
it turns out to be Maria.
Elektra was pregnant.
Oh yeah, it's naturally Nemo just goes, "Go take care of that kid." I'm like, well, you're not gonna do it.
Nemo needs to do what Nemo does: fight wars and sail the seas. And
he's
keeping them safe. He's keeping them safe, probably, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, well,
somehow, unless of course he's going to come out and accidentally kill them all again. But that probably won't happen. Not this time.
Yeah, sure. So Hansen's now one of the richest dudes he is like the richest dude in France. He's a car maker or some shit. But he's single. They made a point to that being painfully obvious. Grandis is still searching for love, but she's, I guess, playing golf in Scotland.
With a
bunch of dudes around her.
Yeah, there were some lords there. He's basically hanging out with rich people.
Yeah.
You got Sanson, and I love how, despite the fact that he thinks very highly of him, as you might have noticed that at some point during the show, he kind of likes himself. What I really like though is that for that entire time, despite the fact that he fancies himself quite the chick magnet, he really doesn't ever get anything.
No. As expected, Jean and Nadia end up getting married, but it took them like 10 years or some shit.
They were very patient. They were going to wait until the time was right.
Totally. I like that the show is so broken this time. That, at that time, they are married. They have a child. The child looks exactly like John. But like,
it would be the dad.
Yeah, but he's a half-oo, so he's got like the half-black skin going on.
Yeah,
when
fine.
It shows John working, he's making a fucking V1 rocket from World War II.
Time passed, man.
What the fuck?
Time passed, man.
And then the last line of the show really throws you off. It goes, well, what's Marie doing? Or no, she goes, what's Staunton doing? Well, he married the love of his life. Me, Maria. I'm like, what? Weren't you guys like 20 years apart in age?
Sure were.
At 16.
Yep.
Oh, I love that ending. I was like,
dude, that ending's great.
The 16-year-old is pregnant with the 35-year-old's kid.
It was the 1800s. Things were different.
1902.
Well, 1900s at that point, but come on. It was fine.
It's fine.
It happened.
Really threw me off. It's fine.
It happened sometimes. Some people did it.
I don't know.
It happened. It's totally acceptable, except not at all. Don't ever do that. No one do that.
Don't ever do that shit outside 1902.
If you're gonna do it, go back to 1902. Yeah, exactly. Time travel, motherfucker. To be honest,
I was expecting time travel to be a thing in the show. I was waiting for it because it got so ridiculous and plot broken.
I'm sure it would have happened if they would have been allowed to go.
If it was
cut
50.
Yeah. Well, it got cut.
When you mentioned that, I said, "Don't worry, it get worse," and then John just get resurrected.
Yeah, Jean should have died. Nadia should have like killed herself in a frenzy.
I don't know. Do that.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about the show?
The music's very good.
I'm kind of broken at this point.
Music's very good. Yeah, music.
Yeah, music was good.
The music. The first 20 episodes, great. Nothing to talk about. Really good until you hear that fucking spaceship coming out and whatnot. Oh boy.
It was hinted at earlier.
Episode 22, it's just bad.
Nah, man. You guys are both wrong.
All right. Well, final thoughts and scores. I really enjoyed the first, probably 3/4 of the show, and then as soon as I'm with Hickey on this. As soon as like the spaceship happened, the plot magic and plot brokenness and the whole getting canceled and rushing everything at the end to such an extent, it was just flashing lights as far as I was concerned. Before all that happened, the show was like 9, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for me. It was, I love the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I loved all of the book references for the time period that it was in. I didn't totally hate Nadia, but the character inconsistencies just got so ridiculous. Your main character in Jean became essentially a side character to just get resurrected and through plot magic at the end. So I just gave it a 6 out of 10. I thought about it for being lower, but I didn't totally hate all of the island arc. So it's really just the ending that puts the show down for me in the end. So 6 out of 10.
Yep, same. I'll be the next one to talk with. We have similar thoughts. I love the first part. I love the Jules Verne-esque style to the anime writing. Unfortunately, major problems with writing as well. Nadia is not a good character. I don't think she was reading great. I don't think, even if it wasn't cancelled, I think if it wasn't cancelled and I watched that show, I still will have the same, because the ending is just a condensed story of what they were planning.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the ending, it doesn't have any redeeming feature what they did with the show. But the music was very good. I really enjoyed the beginning. I really enjoyed any character that wasn't Nadia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
At the ending, like the last 6 episodes, is just not fun. I wasn't having fun. I watched the first 4 episodes, 35 to 39, with talking to some friends, and I said I don't feel like finishing. I was at episode 36, and I was like, I don't feel like watching the end of the show. I don't feel like watching the last episode. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to know how that ends. But they were like, no, you came too far. You need to finish. So I said that at episode 38, I said again, I don't feel like finishing. But I end up finishing anyway. It's very when I go on those passionate rants, it's because I really, really love the show at the beginning. Just like I did with Amanchu second season when we talk about that. Because I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed it, and it wasn't such a letdown. You know, and I thought of giving it a 4, but I end up with a 5 because I like the 20 half of the show. I really enjoy half of it. I gave it a 5. Never will talk about that show.
Alright. So this was my recommendation, and
sure was.
As you might have gathered, I actually fucking loved it. I enjoyed a lot of it, even that condensed ending. And when it comes, for a lot of it, I will agree there is obviously magic in here. No one is going to deny that. But I will say, for me, I figured a lot of these things coming. I thought they sprinkled enough little details in there to make this not as far-fetched of an idea as it was up until the final couple of episodes, where obviously they just shoot off into space. And it's like, again, yeah, sure, they'd already introduced the spaceship, but it was kind of like, okay, the Nautilus crew's back, they're off into space war, Yamato X Dunbine happens. It's like, alright, and then you have that final. It's like, there are parts there that I like, but there are parts that I would have liked to see them kind of... At least, I would have liked to see them try to rationalize it better, if they obviously would have had the time. But again, Gynax not being able to fix their finances, Ano being Ano drugs, Kanzi getting cancelled. There's a whole lot of stuff that works negatively in this show, obviously, but I still had a very good time throughout the vast majority of this show. And apart from without a couple of episodes, and Nadia to an extent, like I agree, the island arc felt a bit long, and Nadia does wear on you when she is by herself or simply by John, because again, her personality is extremely overbearing.
Right.
Extremely overbearing. I don't think when JD pulled up that Nadia is one of the favorite female characters at the time, I'm like, what kind of shitty characters came out at that time?
My theory is her design is amazing.
Oh, her design is very great. I know, but I'm still trying to, because even Joe, even hosting this podcast, even he loves Nadia, and I'm like, she seems like everything you hate.
I think it's the design. The design is so good, and the clothes they have her wear throughout the show, as minimal as it is. I mean, just her wearing like the sailor hot pants that she made for herself. It's like,
yeah.
Visually, Nadia is one of the best characters I've ever seen.
Yeah, she definitely does stand out. It's like, even way before I watched this the show, I knew who Nadia was, and I could pick her out of a lineup. You're not going to get them confused with anyone,
right?
Put it that way. But yeah, that's that. Like I said, I really ended up enjoying the show, and I ended up giving it an 8.
Well, an 8.
An 8. Yes. This is the first time I've given a show the highest score.
Is it?
Man, it feels weird. I think so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I actually think it is as well.
Well,
I think the
history, ladies and gentlemen. We're making history over here at the Red Leaf Retrocast.
7.6, I think. 7.6 score, which I think is way
too low. Agreed.
Yeah, let's see. From Anime Planet, the score is a 3.7 out of 5 on average. And
yeah, that seems about right.
What is that?
About the same.
Seems about wrong.
No, it seems about the same. 3.7. 3 is like
it's basically
2.5 is like 5. 3 is 6.
So it's got like a 7.5.
3.5 is
it's got like a
7.
7.5. We gave it a 6.3 in the end for the podcast. So we're like a 1.5 lower.
Except that my vote counts for 5, so it's an 8. Got it.
Right. Okay. Best host says.
Yep.
Well, this has been the Red Leaf Retrocast. I'm calling it here. Episode 33, Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. If you want to help support the podcast in a nice little free way, head on over to iTunes and Stitcher and leave us a nice little review. Always looking for more of that. You want to look at other past episodes, head on over to our YouTube page, Red Leaf Retrocast, for every live stream episode of the past, and you can find all episodes available, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and others. This has been a fun episode. I think it's one of the longer shows we've ever discussed on the podcast.
Yeah.
Apart from
we have a lot to discuss and we disagree with each other. It is always fun.
Of course.
But I will say this, Tori. I did find the show easy to watch. Like I didn't have any issue with it, though. In that.
Well, you did.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Until episode 30. Up to episode 30, yes, it was so easy to watch. Those last 9 episodes,
not so much for him. Alrighty. And that finishes it off, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
See you.
Oh, man. Oh my god, what a shitty episode.
Fun. Stop this stream.